The following is a presentation of iRacing on PTR TV. We'd like to thank all of our channel partners for their support. Please like and subscribe to the channel, and we hope you enjoy today's broadcast. For most every year since 1981, the All-American 400 has been a crown jewel in the late model community. Some of the biggest names in local short track racing and even those from up top in the NASCAR world head down to Nashville every year for the famous 400 lapper. However, since 1998, we've had a digital version of this famous race. Dating back to the days of NASCAR Racing 3, we've gone through different simulators, different tracks, and had a wealth of drivers take to the racetrack for the digital form of the All-American 400 here at Nashville. And tonight we find ourselves a quarter of a century later here for the 26th edition. Welcome everyone to PTR TV for tonight's race, the 26th annual online All-American 400 from the famous Nashville Fairgrounds Speedway. In the booth and in the production truck is myself, Corey Silva, and I have my longtime partner, Andre Grombush, here helping me with the calls here. Andre, we were here Wednesday night for the preliminary race. We saw the late model stocks do 125 laps under the lights here at Nashville, but tonight we're cranking up the power and turning off the lights here for the famed 26th edition of this race.
Yeah, it is going to be a ton of fun. Of course, like you said, we saw the late model stocks in the preliminary, but a little bit more horsepower underneath that steering wheel today. So these guys are going to have to wrangle the cars around the track, and it is going to be a lot of fun. It's an honor to be up in the booth. Jim Foose has been a part of the sim racing community for so long. This has to be one of the longest running events in all of sim racing. Again, this race has me beat by a year. It's the 26th race. I am 25 years old, so safe to say Jim Foose has been doing this a while, and I think these drivers are just as excited to be a part of this event as we are. You can see we're already getting a little bit patriotic with the paint schemes, All-American 400, and man, oh man, Nashville, what can you say about this track? We've got some banking, we got multi-groove racing, and very wide straightaways. It's going to promote some very hard racing with a lot of opportunities for overtakes.
Yeah, a lot of the issues we had the other night, this is Glenn Stanley in the 8 as qualifying is underway here. These guys did have to go through a bunch of preliminaries. They had to go in through the qualifying heats on Thursday, and then any last on Friday they had the qualifying heats. They ran their times, they had an LCQ, all of this to get into the 36 spots here tonight. But of course now they're qualifying for their individual laps here. Glenn Stanley, we just saw him. Now this is the 93 of James Pileski. He was pretty quick in Wednesday night's efforts. But again, some of the issues we saw Wednesday, Andre, where these guys were running out of power on the straightaways, and that hurt their runs into the corners. Well, we're not going to have that tonight. A lot more horsepower, which opens up a whole nother can of worms here tonight, because now you're going to have a completely separate set of issues of not lighting up those rear tires and managing the 6 sets that we'll have over the 400 laps.
Yeah, they're going to have to manage it. And the thing is, you know, there's so many other tracks where I could give you advice on how to manage your tires, how to keep your car handling well and conserve your equipment. But with tonight's event, there's going to be so many cars on track. I don't think you get to set your own pace. I think you're going to be at the mercy of the traffic around you. You know, how much you have to push is completely up to the competition. And I don't think anybody's going to give anybody an inch. So it's going to be something for these guys to have to deal with on top of everything else. So it's going to be a tough event, and 400 laps. It's not often that you see a late model race go this many miles. So some of these guys, if late models are their primary form of racing, this might be a bit of an endurance event for them. Might be a little bit unfamiliar. They don't have the notebook ready.
Yeah, I'm almost kind of wishing that there was some, a virtual hurricane that came through Nashville, so that way we could have did this race next month. Because I'm telling you, once iRacing does that oval refresh, I think this race will be one of the staples on the entire service. But there will be some dynamic elements to this race, Andre, and I'm pretty sure Jeff Dillon here, he is doing the most intelligent thing to do with this time. We have 10 minutes of time, so typically in ASR, as I do drive in it myself, qualifying is 2 laps, and then you have a 10-minute qualifying session. So mainly, a lot of guys will get that last second drink, run to the bathroom one more time, let the dog out, whatever you have to do, and then hop back in the seat for a long race. But he is using this as a practice session. We've had this camera on him for about 5 minutes. So Jeff Dillon here is taking just getting a little bit of extra experience here. Again, they haven't raced in the day in quite some time, and let's bring up our weather conditions here, and we'll get our time as well. 65 in the air, so very cold here in Nashville. That's probably about right, as it would be in the real world 77 track, at only about 12:30 here, Andre. So, if this thing goes really sour, right, we're still going to be done by 4:30-ish sim time, so no lights to contend with tonight.
Yeah, so we're not really going to see a lot of track temperature change, which means these guys at least have something that they don't have to think too hard about when it comes to handling. But again, still a lot on their plates there, so it'll be interesting to see. I mean, we might see a little bit of change getting further into the afternoon, but nowhere near as drastic as turning off the lights. And you're right, he's using this qualifying session as a little bit of extra practice. And I mean, can you blame the guy? This is a big event. And even if you've had all week leading into it to practice, never hurts to get warmed up just ahead of game time. Keep yourself fresh, ready to go. And, the game's going to let you turn a lot of laps, so why not use it?
Yeah, exactly that. He had 6 sets of tires here. They will have, apparently it was 300 laps here in the real world, but as we're hearing in our chat from a driver who was actually, for someone who was in the All-American 400, so good, a little information there. But 400 laps here on the evening, the 6 sets of tires. The all-me rule, Andre, will be in effect. We were talking about that very quickly the other day, where we have about a minute before we got to get into our pre-race affairs here on the evening. But if a driver causes an incident, he'll have to claim it. He'll go to the back of the pack. If he causes 2 incidents over the course of this race, you will be given the boot. So definitely some clean racing. A hard race we want, but clean racing here. And the name of the game with the sit-out admins will make sure that's the case.
Absolutely. We got the admins watching everything like a hawk, making sure that it's going to go smoothly. But we got a little bit of pre-race festivities we don't normally have on the channel. So let's go ahead and enjoy that.
All right, with a minute and 30 left. Of course, if you're watching this live, as many of you are, so of course make sure you like and subscribe, all that fun stuff that I have to say, because that's just what you do on a channel. If you're watching this live, it is Veterans Day, so of course we want to thank everyone who has taken the efforts to protect our country and taken those big sacrifices. So we want to thank them, and by doing that, let's go ahead and give you the national anthem here on Veterans Day in honor of today's race.
All right, with the national anthem having concluded, we do have tonight's greatest command in motorsports. It is going to be Kevin James letting these drivers know that it is time to fire these engines.
I just got 3 things to say. God bless our troops, God bless America, and gentlemen, start your engine!
Never in my iRacing career have I ever got to do that. And that was pretty fun. So while that has been done, let's go down and let you know where your favorite driver may be starting. And we'll give you the PTR TV Speed World starting lineup here today from the All-American 400. On to the overall poll here tonight with that lap time of 17.803 is going to be Oliver Cordell with Carter Russo to his outside. Third finds Kelsey Rogers with James Pileski in fourth. Fifth, we have Benny Hogan and then John Cannizzaro there in sixth. Hopefully that is vaguely right. Noah Carter in seventh. Alan Young from New Hampshire in eighth. Ninth and 10th is Dalton Collins and the Ohio native Lane Hostler.
P11 is going to be Travis Wright in that number 10 machine, right next to Tyler Mueller in 12th. 13th place, Josh Cole in the 88 machine. Kyle Goodbout going to be running in 14th. Ryan Strunk going to be P15. Matt Vade is going to be P16, or Vade, perhaps. 17th is going to be Carson Lucas in the 188. Jeffrey Clifton going to be P18. Running out the top 20, we're going to find Zach Coyer in 19th and Michael Whittick in P20.
I always find a new Massachusetts native whenever I do a starting lineup here, so another one there for Michael Whiting for me. Jeff Dillon, we just caught him do his 75 laps of qualifying from the 21st spot. And then right there in racing country, Alex Bonsignor, probably butchered that royally, but he's going to be in the 22nd spot. Caleb Ramsey in 23rd. And then Zachary Honecker there at Tennessee, row number 12. Mark Myers in 25th, Craig Schmidt in 26th. A lot of Ohio natives as well in this race as well, Andre. You got Charles Roth in 27th, Kenneth Farmer in 28th, and then rounding out our top 30, AJ Cruz and Evan Hassler.
Outside of the top 30, Jonathan Holstein in the 73, right next to Chad Barker, in 32nd. 33rd goes to Glenn Stanley, and he's going to be alongside Steve Wright in 34th.
And that is it.
So we have 34 cars getting ready to start this event. Going back to the preliminary, we talked a lot about how big the field size was there and just how unique that is for late model races. Again, generally it's more in the mid-20s, so a lot of action here. But race details, we have fixed setups. As you already kind of alluded to there, Corey, we've got 6 sets of tires that we have to spread out over the span of 400 laps. No fast repair. It is going to be a one and done. Got to make sure you keep your ride nice and clean, dent-free, don't scratch the paint. The keys to the race, well, number 1, survival. I think that's kind of a given, especially after the preliminary. Save the rear tires. With all the horsepower, you're going to get a little bit of wheel spin, so try to be careful on that loud pedal when you come out of the corner. When to pit? Well, I don't have a crystal ball, but I would say generally when everybody else does.
Yeah, because you're going to have those situations where, we're going to expect there's going to be a sequence of some rapid fire cautions and, again, a little bit slower pit stops here. And with this big of a field, there's not going to be a unanimous pit cycle. I'm almost imagining that. So pretty sure that you're going to have to make those very difficult decisions here. And that's what these drivers are going to have to do. But I think that pace truck is going to pull into pit lane here. And the 26th annual online All-American 400 is going to be underway. Barney has the flag in hand, and he's going to wave it. Let's go racing here from Nashville.
And the entire field going to roar across the line now through 1 and 2 from the outside. Look at that, a move for the lead. The 17 falls back to second place. Carter Russo taking the sole possession of the lead. Kelsey Rogers in the 34 is going to be third place. And then behind him, we got battling all over the place. That number 777. Oh boy, it took a lap and a half. We have our first caution of the night.
Oh, I see. Let's see. I see Zachary Honecker. I know he had some issues on Wednesday night, and this is going to be interesting. The guy who got the most practice had the first issue. That's Jeff Dillon in the 52. Was that a hardware failure? Oh my goodness!
Yeah, that's a hardware failure if I've ever seen one. That looked like that car just shot into the corner completely
So what happened
straight.
is he used all of his wheel's abilities. He used it up during qualifying, and it ran out of ability for the race there. Somebody kicked up some smoke just in front, but yeah, that thing just turned hard right. So that's a USB disconnect, or maybe the CPU overloaded. This is a big field, so we try to call these strictly as real races, Andre, as best we can, but we also have to be realistic with the fact that this is a simulator, and this is a relatively new track to iRacing, so it has a little bit more graphical fidelity. It's going to be a little bit more challenging on the PC, and then you add a full field of cars. It's not going to be unheard of for some PCs to be kind of panting here at the start of this race.
No, it's definitely not. And honestly, I don't think hardware failures are all that unrealistic. In fact, I would say that's probably one of the most realistic things about the sim. Right there, I don't necessarily think it was his computer. I think that was a bit of a wheel failure where it just kind of went into the corner. You could see even after the contact was made, he continued going straight into the wall, then up and over onto his roof. And, you can kind of compare that to a real-life steering rack failure or power steering failure. It has been known to happen. So it's unfortunate that it happened so early into this event, because you'd have to imagine, we saw how much he was practicing during qualifying. We joked about the 75 qualifying laps, but, I'm sure him and everybody else has put in a lot of time practicing and getting ready for this event. And as somebody who's been racing in real life pretty much my entire life, and who's watched a lot of racing on TV, that's always the thing that is always the most heartbreaking and the most frustrating, is when you spend all that time, all that money, all that effort getting ready for a race, and then on the first lap, something out of your control happens. It takes you out of it. There is no worse feeling.
Yeah, I remember, Andre, there was a big race that I hosted back in 2020, I believe it was the COT at Homestead. We botched this, put up this whole race. It's going to be fun, hard to drive, powerful cars. I get all the work, all the guys. I have a whole full field broadcast. What happens on the grid? My computer crashes and I start the race 4 laps down. It's just, it happens, and it's definitely not fun. It's early enough. Well, actually, no, he's already taken it behind the wall, so he's not going to repair himself and come back out. So unfortunate for him, but let's try another restart here. Carter Russo on the front row. Oliver Cordell, he got a sponsor, Lowe's, on the car for tonight's race on the outside. Green flag back in the air.
So we're going to see if we can get a nice rhythm going here. That's going to be the key for these guys. Restarts are difficult. They're treacherous, I think. You can't really blame anybody for having issues when we're 3 and 4 wide throughout the field, but if you stay green, you get into a bit of a rhythm, everybody gets into the zone, and that's where we're going to see these long stints begin. A little bit of a smoke show there on the outside wall. Again, these drivers trying to take as wide of an entry as they can possibly get. We're going to see that a few times, and even a little bit of contact there on corner exit. Just goes to show not much space for these guys to fight over as we go on board with Kyle Goodbout in the 0-1. You see everybody just using the whole track, Corey. They enter up high, they exit up high. That seems to be the fast way around the track, but the more cars around you, the deeper in the hornet's nest you are, the more difficult that becomes.
Yeah, exactly that. And you just have to find these places to go. Now, the outside here at Nashville is not completely out to lunch, because you do have the bumps to the bottom, so it is a little bit smoother on the top of the track. Therefore, it can be an advantageous place to be. Getting to the outside there of Ryan Strunk. There is he. A little bit further up, we got the 777 ride of John Cannizzaro there. He is to the inside of Alan Young, who is an ASR regular. He has been in ASR for quite so many years there, that number 24 car, and getting that run off the top there, side by side off at 2. Now, my question, Andre, is it always leads into what kind of run we're going to have. I think that's Zachary Honecker there to the inside after that first lap incident. You can see the damage that he does have. How hard do you want to push at this juncture in a race? It's a full field. You never know how many cautions we're going to have. You don't know who's going to wreck, but here on iRacing, as you know, once you make those tires mad, they stay mad. So do you want to take it easy, or do you want to get the spots while they're on the table?
Man, I don't think either of those choices sound very fun, but, for me, I've always been a bit of a Paul Menard type. I value consistency and
winning on luck only once?
Perhaps. But, I've always valued consistency, and I think in a race like this, where it's 400 laps, with only 6 sets of tires. I think if you give up that track position now, the race is going to come to you later. Look, there's going to be attrition. There's still a whole lot of cars in this race that probably aren't going to be there by the end of it. I mean, that's just reality. And the drivers who are pulling away right now, Carter Russo, Oliver Cordell, Kelsey Rogers, these drivers, they're driving hard. They're using up those tires. They're heating them up, putting cycles through them, and eventually they're going to run out of equipment to burn. So if you're somebody a little bit further back, it's going to come to you. You just have to be patient. You got to have a little bit of faith, and we'll see how it plays out. But that's how I would approach it, because right now, I think if you're driving aggressive, yes, you're going to gain track position. You might put yourself in a pretty good position, but really, the only good position right now is the lead. Like, if you're in the lead, right now we're early enough in the stint, you don't have lap traffic to worry about, at least not yet. So that's well and good. But if you're second, third, fourth, look, you still got cars around you, you're still in traffic. There's really not much of a point to push right now, I would say. I think the cost outweighs the benefit, but that's just me.
And based on my estimator here, in a magically fictitious world where we go green the next 382 laps, we have just under 2 hours of racing here. So, of course, it'll be a little bit longer than that because things will spice up. But I do want to focus a little bit on Oliver Cordell now. My brain is already fried as to what happened on Wednesday night, even though we covered it, just because that's just how my brain works. But I do know I've read some of the prerequisites. And Oliver Cordell actually swept Tuesday night here. They were on the mini mile there, that quarter-mile track that just utilizes the front stretch here. He managed to sweep both the Legends and the Street Stock race. And we know on Wednesday night, wherever he finished, I think he was in one of the wrecks, actually, he showed serious speed. So A, he's either a short track ace, or B, he likes Nashville, or C, I suppose all the above. But definitely going to watch out for that number 17 as we're door-to-door here for the 5th spot. 95 Dalton Collins to the inside. Washes up a little bit. Noah Carter to the outside. Turn 2 gets very difficult on corner exit there as we continue to have those little smoke shows on the straightaway there.
Yeah, these cars really, it's a little bit violent. Like they're just kind of scraping the wall, but the reaction, at least graphically from the game, is very violent. We're getting a lot of particle effects out of it, so very noticeable when somebody does scrape that wall. I don't think it's affecting them from a handling perspective, at least not too much, as a lot of the drivers who are hitting that wall are the drivers that are out front and they remain there, so can't imagine it's hindering them too much. But, with that battle we saw side by side, it just kind of takes me back to the preliminary race where a lot of the drivers we interviewed and a lot of what we saw basically said, look, passing is tough. It's really difficult to get around somebody. There's really not a preferred line. You just have to go full send and hope they make a model. My question is, how much will having that extra horsepower going up to these super late models, is that going to change, right? Is it going to be easier to pass with this extra power, or because these cars are harder to drive, is it going to be even tougher to pass?
I'm just going to say yes, because I think it's, it's true, and it is going to bring up more mistakes. So let's kind of take this into account. This is, I'd have to get someone, and there's a lot of people in chat that know a lot more about me. Not more about me, no, more than me, that is, about this car. And I want to say this is akin to at least 700, 750 horsepower, I do want to say, if not more than that. So this is kind of what the Cup car used to be, and my favorite track back in the day, no longer was Martinsville. And that track was all about saving the tires. You utilize that power to your benefit, or you can use it to your dismay if you don't know how to use that throttle. So here at Nashville, I'm going to akin it to that, where saving that throttle is going to help you if you have the tires to put down on the back end of the run here. That's Evan Hassler in the 138 trying to get to the inside of Ryan Strunk. He's making some looks, but just not close enough there. And that's Josh Cole in that Sharkmobile that he just got past. Now, just go back up front. Kelsey Rogers and Cordell have closed in right to the back bumper of Russo. Now, the million-dollar question is, how do they get by? Because thus far, as we've said, it is seemingly single file, seemingly, kind of single groove. But if they are catching him, that shows that 21 may have exerted too much tire, and he may start to struggle more and more as each lap progresses.
That could be the case, or maybe he just realized, look, I'm the leader, I'm setting the pace, I know how difficult it is to pass, so if I back off a little bit, chances are the drivers behind me are also going to back off, because, going back to what I said, and it looks like the chat generally agrees with me, I think right now, playing it conservative and just kind of taking it easy, hitting your marks, is going to be the strat. That's going to be the meta right now. So if the leader backs off, I think everybody behind him follows suit. So he doesn't really have to worry about that too much. And the added benefit of that as well, if he's not clicking off lap times that are as quick as they were before, it's prolonging how long it's going to take for him to get to lap traffic, which is what's going to make this race really interesting. Because, the lap traffic, they don't have a very enviable position here. They can do everything they can in their power to race the leaders clean, but it's just the nature of this track. It's tough to pass, so the lap traffic is going to impact the race one way or the other. But you can see those lap times, 381, 383, and now 409, 402, 384, within hundreds of each other. And it goes to kind of lend credence to what I said, Corey. I think these guys saw the leader back off, and they said, all right.
And we are starting to get into lap traffic. Zachary Honecker, who he pitted, got some of that damage repaired. Remember, no backup cars here. He's taking the bottom, which I don't know if that's what the leaders want to see, because that's going to be tight quarters racing off of the corner. They'll all funnel by. I would think he probably would want to run the top of the track, but luckily as everyone gets by, I suppose that all is well and dandy. We'll see what happens when the second group gets by. That second group started by Dalton Collins in the very white and plain number 95 car. Sponsors hard to come by, I guess, in this series, Andre, from what we've seen, but we'll see how they get by. And again, single file, these lap times are all within, you said, 100th, 200th of a second. Now, some guys I'm looking forward to seeing their progression. AJ Cruz is someone who in the ASR All-American Series, which ran the late model stock, he was someone that found speed in ways that I don't know how he found speed, but didn't have the greatest starting spot, 29th. He's managed to pass 13 vehicles here in this race, so looking forward to see how he can progress through the field. And then our other driver, Kyle Goodbout. Now, that name rings a bell for us, Andre, from our race on Thursday, our first of the doubleheader on Thursday. Kyle Goodbout had some interesting racing there.
I think that was JJ Goodbout. I'm not sure if there's a relation.
Oh, JJ. It's a very uncommon last name, so I put two and two together. Didn't mean to group you together there, Kyle.
Although I would have to assume there probably is some sort of relation, unless it was an astounding coincidence. But in the meantime, into the wall pretty significantly. The 17 actually gave up about a tenth from that wall contact, so that was definitely bigger than the last few hits. We'll have to see if the 34 can capitalize on that. Take a look at the PTR TV instant replay, try and scope out exactly what happened. Was this as violent as it looked? That was a bit of a hit. You can see the right front kind of lifted up into the air a little bit. I mean, that'd be like if if you put a little bit too much water in the batter, it's still a pancake, but it's on the thinner side. Yeah, I mean, not the best pancake in the world, but on board now with second place Oliver Cordell as these drivers inch closer to more traffic, and this time it's going to be a little bit more. They've had to navigate a car or two, but from this point onward, I think it's going to be more of a steady flow of traffic, and that is one thing about short track race. Into the wall, the 04 scraping that barrier.
Mark Myers, that is.
I guess Mark saw that blue and yellow flag, and he took that
immediately. Now look at the that is not a good start to the race for him. Now Mark Myers is 4 laps down, but again, so I'm looking at by the way, this is absolutely phenomenal. The audience we have right here, it's one of the biggest audiences I've had in quite some time, and that is akin to the effort that Jim puts in promoting. Now we just have to be very transparent here. There's no entry fee to this race, and there's no prize, there's no main sponsors, there's nothing, but there is so much. People want to win this. This is the Daytona 500 without any of the prizes of the short track community, so absolutely great stuff here. These guys are really invested in this race, and guys really want to win. But we are getting some stuff in chat where it is expected that the first half of this race, it kind of races, I guess, in four 100-lap races. The first 2 tend to be wreckfest, then it cleans up, and then you have a really good shootout to the end depending on how the strategy is. Well, I guess we're kind of going against the anomaly here, Andre, because once we have that first caution, I mean, knock on wood here, this is turning into a pretty good and clean race.
Yeah, it really is. We had that initial caution, which really wasn't the fault of anybody. That was a hardware failure. And ever since then, it's been clean and green. We've got a little bit of separation. The drivers have found their zen, so to speak, and It's been some good racing all throughout the field, so glad to see it. Anytime these guys can pick off laps and, actually race rather than pace, that's a good thing to see. And it's really fascinating to me as well. These three leaders, even James Pileski in the 93 back there, he's kind of a part of this battle. They've been running such similar pace that I don't think any single one of them is going to have more fall off than the next. I think they're going to deteriorate in terms of lap times about the same across the board. So that means this battle's not going to separate. One of these guys isn't going to pull away. They're going to be bumper to bumper, door to door, up until they have to finally pit, I would say. At least that's my prediction, which is going to make it really interesting. And it kind of goes to what I said about Carter Russo being the leader. He gets to set the pace, and that is what he has done. Now, James Pileski, I don't remember exactly where he started on the grid, but I know he's passed at least a few cars to get up to these leaders, and I got to wonder if he's the outlier here. He started fourth, currently fourth.
He's done nothing, but...
He's done nothing. I am proven wrong once again by the graphics. So mark that on the board if you got a tally going for how many times is Dirt wrong. But either way, he was a little bit further back. He was more than a second back. Now he's at their bumper. So of the leaders, he's probably one of the drivers pushing the hardest at the moment. But glad to see how that affects him. We are 51 laps in, so starting to feel the effects of tire degradation. But definitely not going to have the car be a handful yet by any means. As they inch even closer, there's another lap car at 59. Moving to the high groove, he's going to let these guys go. And man, oh man, I don't envy these lap cars at all. It's so tough to let these guys go while at the same time not really sacrificing your own space on a short track. There's into contact. Oh boy, and the 59 goes around, the 17. That is a huge moment for our leaders. That changes the battle entirely.
Yeah, that Oliver Cordell there, we just talked about how good of a week he's had. That car is toast. And I think he just gave a little, that wasn't ideal to that one of the lappers there that was a part of that. Now let's go cue up the replay and try to dissect what we saw here. We'll go from the top down cam. If that's, unless, we'll have to go back, because if that was the case, I don't know why he's mad, because that kind of seemed instigated, but like he was the instigator of it. Now, I'm going to go and just look a little bit further. I just want to see if there was something that maybe made him upset. This is how we get to 1 and 2. Watch the 17 and 59. So far, nothing wrong.
Yeah.
I don't know why he's big mad. That was on him. I mean, it's not our job to place blame, but it kind of is. And
yeah, that to me, it definitely looked like the 17. He took a shallow entry. He was trying to navigate the traffic. And here we go. Obviously, that was when the caution flew. Temper's still flaring, but he took a shallow entry, so his car was always going to get tight. It's not like he drove up into the lap car intentionally, but he did. He came up the track, got into the lap car, and then I don't want to say for certain that he retaliated, but it certainly appeared that was his initial reaction, was to kind of retaliate, turn up, and unfortunately for him, he was also caught up in it, which is, who was it that said the first rule of stock car racing is to learn how to wreck somebody without wrecking yourself?
I don't know. I was just trying to avoid saying Lil Jon turn up for what in the inverse, but your reference is a lot more appropriate there. As exit in the pits there, we'll try to get a gander of the strategies here as everybody exiting pit lane. We do have Glenn Stanley, he stayed out and is inexplicably stopping on the entry of the pits. Well, I guess that must have been his stall. Maybe he was just trying to let everybody else go on his way into the pits. That could have been it. But so Carter Russo has retaken the lead after that whole cycle has occurred. Now the pit stops here, just so we can kind of get a reference as to the pit stop cycles here, Andre. 21 seconds is going to seemingly be a 4-tire and fuel stop. You do have a James Pileski back here, who is there at 35 seconds. So I'm assuming a penalty. I don't.
It could have been a penalty. It could have been damage repair as well. I mean, these guys have been bouncing off the wall a little bit, and he might have seen it as, hey, we're early in the race. If I'm going to give up time to get this car fixed, I would say now's the time to do it, because you've got time to recover from that. But
he must have a penalty, yeah, because he's just potatoing and dropping into the back here.
Yeah, that's a firm possibility.
But we are on 1 to go, so I don't know if admin might delay the caution or if we're gonna get going right here, because we're on 1 to green, and I think everyone is. Oh, we still got guys all over the place here, but I think we are going green this time by pace car, or truck, I reckon, is going to pull into the pits. And Carter Russo and Carson Lucas on the front row for this restart. Green flag in the air. Barney's going to let them loose and head off into turn number 1.
Carter Russo in a familiar position. He is going to go ahead and be in the solo lead.
Oh, jeepers.
Oh, no. Oh, boy.
67, Ryan Strunk, that is. And not sure what happened to him, but we will go ahead and figure it on out. Now, Andre, I'm going to take full blame. I said this race was running pretty cleanly, and so I take full blame if this kind of goes off the Richter here in the middle sequence. All right, we got Alan Young kind of got into the back of somebody there. Now we'll have to scroll all about here and try to dissect this as best we can. A lot of guys here. So this is onboard Alan Young. That is the 777. John Canizaro kind of went down the track, I guess, into... he kind of came down, I think, into Alan's line.
And in Alan's defense, it is so tough when you're that close to react to somebody checking up. I don't think he meant to do that at all.
Now, where did the 1 come into this?
Yeah, I don't know if that was reactionary, the field was checking up, or if he just unrelated got into the outside wall.
He just got loose inexplicably.
Unrelated. So 2 unrelated incidents happening just about simultaneously. Also, in chat, I want to mention one of the comments. Mitch Young said that last caution would have been a good time to take 2 tires and just see how it feels since we're so early in the race. And I believe it was him that said that. It was a good opportunity.
You said Mitch Young, so that's why I was...
Mitch Brown. There we go. But he said it was a good opportunity to take 2, see how it feels, and that's how I've always felt about longer type races like this. Use the early portion to experiment. See what you can learn, see what you can figure out, and taking 2 tires definitely would not be a bad call, because we've only got 6 sets to spread out over this entire race, and if you can maybe save a little bit by taking 2 here or there, that'd be a pretty good move.
Now,
so we'll see what these drivers do. But
the only flaw of taking 2 tires is the fact that it leaves you, there's no turning back from it, because then you'll take all the rest of the tires, and then at the end of the race you have a set of left side tires, which you traditionally never want to put left sides on by yourself, just by themselves, because it will make the car handle very awkwardly, usually in a tight side. So there's no turning back in the sense that, you have an extra set on the wall. You have 2 left side tires that you don't know what to do with, I guess, at the end of the deal. Yeah,
obviously, it's short track racing, and you never know how the cautions are going to fall, or, how long the stints are going to be, but you're kind of just having to go with the flow and adjust your strategy accordingly, but still learning things early in the stint. Early in the race is going to be valuable. And that was a rare blink out of Carter Russo. We've not seen him blink up until now. But he should be all right. It seems to have stabilized as the lights go off on the pace truck. And we're going to be doubling them up here. Ready to go. And Alan Young there, who was involved in the first portion of that incident, inside the top 10 still. And not too much damage on that car. I think the 777 may have also gotten away with relatively little damage.
Track position not to his benefit, but he is in the 24th position did John fall back to, but we'll try this one more time into the Tweedcast Digital Solutions restart zone there. Green flag back in the air for Carter Russo. Heading off into turn number 1, there's Dalton Collins taking advantage of that inside lane underneath Carson Lucas here. Going to go into second now. Try to follow is Noah Carter in the number 83, that Nationwide-esque Dale Jr. type paint scheme there. He's going to get by for third. That outside lane not working well if you're a Carson Lucas fan.
No, and especially this early into the run. Oh, no. Cautions do indeed breed cautions here at the All-American 400. going to try to identify. It may have been the 67 again,
No,
unfortunately.
yeah, I don't have any good indicators here on this one. Now I'll quickly just take a gander. Oh, it was. If you're right, if you think you're right, you probably are. Actually, I shouldn't say that one because it's wrong in my wife's situation all the time. But 67 to the top.
Hey-o.
Yeah. So everyone just slowed up, and the 77 just decided that it was time to go. And
Well, and you know, that's another situation, though, Corey, where they're coming out of the corner. They're at an angle. And he was kind of right at
let's
his
see.
8.
This is Benny Hogan.
Yeah, just a little lack of visibility, maybe a little bit of lack of spatial awareness, but either way, that is going to put us under caution again. These drivers probably wishing that we could get back to a bit of a rhythm, and these tires, there's nothing more frustrating than putting on a fresh set of tires, heating them up, putting on a few laps, and then the caution comes in because you put the cycle on them, and suddenly they don't feel so good anymore. So I know a lot of these guys did take 4, and that advantage quickly fading with all these cautions.
Now, we do have one driver in the race that is going against the grain, and that is the 110 of Chad Barker. And you can see no pit stops. He is still on his OG fuel and his OG tires here, so trying to save a set, which at the rate it's going, he's in 16th, so to be honest, he could, I mean, maybe he's trying to go to lap 100 or something, and you know, just have that extra little one-up if the occasion does, you know, kind of require it later on. But we'll try this once more here from the Nashville Fairgrounds Speedway, just shy of 25% through tonight's efforts. Carter Russo has been one of the fastest, and he's going to get on the loud pedal through the restart zone. Huge jump over Dalton Collins there. That outside lane caught sleeping. And it looks like Carson Luke is going to lose some more spots on the outside still, but he may get back in the line there in the 5th spot.
And into the wall. Oh, we're wrecking again.
Oh, holy.
Oh, boy. That's a big one.
Moly.
That is a big one.
All right, well, try and sort things out here. 04, you can see on screen there. That's Mark Myers. He was involved in some capacity here. Big junk down the backstretch here. Ryan Strunk was also involved, trying to cue up the best angle of this that I can. Well, 17 kind of got into the 34. There was also, who's that? There was that white car off in the distance there, and that I can't quite make out who that was, but Stephen Wright had some issues as well, so try to dissect this if I can do a slightly better job here on the replays. So much to go on here on these replays. It's a little overwhelming, to be honest with you. Let's try this angle with Stephen Wright. Oh, they're already going at it there.
Yeah, I think everybody was trying to kind of get checked up for that wreck, and then what we were seeing there was a bit of the reaction, the domino effect. Take a look at a slightly different angle, see if it shows us the bigger picture. We got the static cam, so this will show us what exactly happened in
Someone
front
walled
of
it,
them.
and then I think it was just a big reaction off of that wall contact there. And
Clobbered.
yeah, Digger got scared there.
Yeah, that was almost very bad and expensive for the camera crew, the virtual camera crew. Also, Corey, it looks like we got somebody waiting for an interview, maybe an infield care center type situation.
He's been, I think he's just trying to be separate from the crowd, I believe. Just
Okay.
he's been there all race, so I think that's just kind of doing his own thing.
Okay, I just noticed him, so that could be the case. You're right about that. But yeah, so we've got another yellow flag, and it is starting to become a bit of a trend here. I know that Jim was in chat talking about how, the first 100 laps are generally pretty chaotic, but for a while we were breaking that trend. We had a pretty long stint where we were keeping green, the leaders were getting into traffic, things were pretty clean, and I think we can do it again. Absolutely. It's just going to be a matter of getting past that initial hump, having the chaos of the restart, everybody close 2-3 wide, and then we can maybe get back to it. And these guys, they're good on fuel, they're good on tires for the time being. 22-gallon tanks from what I understand in these late models, so They should be able to go quite a bit further if they pitted recently. Going back to Chad Barker, who did not pit yet, 73 laps in, I would not be surprised if he can go another 30 or 40 laps before he is kind of spitting and sputtering. So he'll be really good on his sets of tires if some late race chaos were to break out. Trying to save what he can back there, maintaining decent track position as the lights go off on the pace car. We're hitting the wall even under pacing. I'm not sure I fully understand that one, but pace truck pulling away. He's gotten on the loud pedal, it would seem. He's just about out of frame at this point. Not sure why we're backed up so far from him, but here we go, down the back straightaway. We're going to try it again, give it the old college try here, and Carter Russo, he's been here before. He knows what to do. He knows how to get these restarts. He knows how to lead this race. We'll see if he can do it again with the competition of Dalton Collins there, Carson Lucas, Noah Carter. Out and away, Carter Russo, that 21 is going to take the lead, and now down into the corner from the grandstands, we're taking a look at it. We're getting the spectator special as we watch him go down the back straightaway. I think we're going to get this lap in clean, and I'll tell you what, Dalton Collins trailing the leader just barely. He's on the tow hitch. He's looking to make a move.
Now that's smoke, though. Yeah, these guys trying to make a move here as we'll go back to our billboard cam. You can see the huge billboard in turn 3, kind of probably where the spotters would stand. Oh my goodness, someone is upside down.
Oh boy.
I saw somebody do a barrel roll there. I don't know who, but somebody did a barrel roll, and we will get to the bottom of that. Oh, that was the 50 of Alex Bonsignor. And we'll try to find out who was the one that... the 73. Ooh. Oh, that is the Dale angle that I stopped at. Let's go on board with... who are we going to go on board with here? I guess we'll go on board with Alex. That's Jonathan Holstein to the inside.
Bit of a show here, a little bit of contact with the quarter panel.
Oh, it was Holstein that went upside down. Excuse me. It was off the front bumper there. So now, everybody get your air sick bag, because now we need to go and find the view from Jonathan Holstein's perspective.
It is at this moment I'd like to take the opportunity to point out that earlier in the race, somebody in chat had proposed a drinking game for every time there's a yellow flag. I don't recommend it at this point, but if anybody is playing that game at home,
drink responsibly. We are going for monetization here on the channel, so I can only advocate so much.
I will keep your liver in mind. We wish you the best if that is what you are doing.
You'd be 6 deep here, so of appropriate
6 deep, and we're not age
appropriate beverages that you will drink responsibly. So, but what we are going to do here is we are on caution number 6. We're just going to step aside for a brief moment, and we'll be back with you for the restart. So please stay with us. You won't miss a thing. Back here after the 6th caution of the race. Gonna try it once more. Dalton Collins on the outside, but Carter Russo to that inside. He's gonna get that lead as he has been on these restarts, heading off into turn number 2. Let's see if we could make it happen green this time, Andre.
Yeah, we're going to hope we can, but these boys are battling. They want every little bit of track position they can get, so sparks are going to fly on these restarts. It's just going to be a matter of getting deep enough into the run to get a little bit of separation, and these guys got some wiggle room, so to speak. But in the meantime, it's going to be this all the way through, double wide throughout the field, trying to grab every position they can. Carter Russo out to 0.3 of a second over Dalton Collins. Noah Carter in the 83. A little bit further back there, but yeah, he's passed 25 cars.
Here we go.
Oh no. Well, we'll take a look at another replay, perhaps.
Oh, yep. But the 3rd car upside down here on the evening. Now, this is... So I was corrected, mind you, earlier, Andre, that I said the all-me rule and the caution rule was 2. It is actually 3, as in a baseball mentality. Now, I'm not sure with the 87. He might be on 2, because he's been involved. I don't know the cause. I don't remember it that vividly, but he may be on 2 right now. So remember, if you cause 3 cautions, you do get the boot. If you do cause a caution, you do get EOL'd, end-of-line penalty via the all-me system. So these guys will have to be careful, because we're on 7, and we still have 314 to go. Look at that math I just did in my head.
And that's probably more startling than the cautions we've had. The fact that either one of us did correct math. That's got to be like a Haley's Comet type situation once every so many years.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes, you see the same numbers over and over. Sometimes some of them do click, and you'll learn the distributive property, as it may. Now, there's that driver we were speaking of earlier who stayed out. That was Chad Barker. He finally has decided to put some Dr. Feelgoods on that machine. Rusty Wallace's old adage there. He pitted not on the past caution, but the one before that, so 7 laps in. So he has the freshest tires. Actually, no, the freshest tires. All right, so this is the point in the race, Andre, where we lose all ability to figure out absolutely anything. Because once people, you can see the stint graphic here on the ticker that shows the last time everyone came to pit road. We also have the ability to see when drivers, their pit stop times, which vaguely gives us the ability to see what they did on their pit stop. So Benny Hogan, remember, he was involved in one of those cautions earlier, but his pit stop doesn't work. For some reason, I think late joiners to the session there don't work. It was 13 seconds. So I don't know 13 seconds. You can see, like at Alan Young, for example. Let's bring up his 21. So that was 4 tires. Is 13 2 tires? Is that damage? That, these are the things that we don't know. So that kind of brings up the guesswork of trying to figure out what the strategies are.
Yeah, obviously iRacing isn't going to give us that back-end data for whatever reason, and it would be kind of absurd to hire people to specifically watch pit road and try to feed us that information. So unfortunately, something that we just kind of have to guess on, and at that point, that's really all we can do. But the green flag back in the air, lap 89 now underway out of 400, getting close to the 1/4 mark. Let's see if we can click off a few laps under green. Carter Russo doing a good job of getting out to the lead, as he's done so many times tonight. A little bit of a battle for 3rd place. The 83 of Noah Carter is going to try to jump up the pylon. An aggressive move from the 57. He's going to slide down into line. AJ Cruz, he's passed more cars than anybody else tonight.
Oh, again.
He is, no.
Now I'm looking at the rear view. I don't see anything.
I don't see anything.
Oh, Chad, we were just talking about his fresh tires.
Oh, no.
And Caleb
Chad.
Ramsey there. No relation to Gordon, as far as I'm aware.
No, but he did give him a donut, so.
113 to the bottom, Ramsey to the top. Oh, self-spin on the fresh tires there. So maybe they were cold and...
Many such cases, you get used to driving the car on the warm old tires, and then you get some cold freshies, and suddenly it's a different car altogether.
they hit each other as they're both trying to synchronized correct themselves there on the front straightaway.
So we do have a Carson fan in chat. So let us know who you're pulling for if you are watching along with us tonight. I know we've got a ton of talent in the field. We've seen some great action thus far. And I think really it's been the story of Carter Russo, though, as he has led, I think, almost all of this race.
No, I have some of the back-end information, and I guess there's actually some Rolex in this league that I didn't, in this race that I didn't know of, because the I rating of some of these guys is right up there. Dalton Collins, a 7,000 I rating. I see somebody here with a 59.75. I think that is Oliver Cordell. So we do have some heavy hitters in the iRacing community here in this race. 7,000 is, that's pushed Road to Pro, pushing all the Top Dog series and all that fun stuff that I'm nowhere near good enough to even consider being in. So that 95 definitely going to be one to watch out for. Now, can he get the run off the outside lane here on a restart? Nobody has been able to get a good run from the outside of that Tweedcast restart zone there. So he's going to really have to look to his left, time out Russo. Russo's going to have to be creative and, not be predictable, so that way he can keep getting that jump. Let's see what happens on this next attempt at it. He's going to go super early in the box there, and Collins will fall back in the line, but still lose a car length.
Yeah, Dalton Collins, I think being second is actually more difficult for him on the restart than it would be to be third, because at least if you're third, you got the leader right in front of you, and you know exactly the moment that he goes. But if you're on the outside, you're really just kind of going off sound. You're trying to listen to when the leader goes, and it's so much more difficult to time it. And then even if you do, you're still not in the preferred lane. So Dalton definitely playing a bit of a stacked game on the restarts, but now that he's fallen into line in second place, we'll see what he can do. Again, ever since the 95 got up front, we've had this rash of cautions. We've not seen what the 95 can do in comparison to Russo, and we never will, as we have another
Alex
yellow flag.
Bonsignor.
He was involved in, one of the other incidents.
I think was he nearly upside down earlier, I believe.
Yeah, I think you're correct on that. We'll take a look at the BTR TV replay, and nearly upside down again.
Oh. Now where did he go? I had the camera on him. All right, let's try this one more time. I don't know why let's try this one more time.
Hopefully some cars got saved
Oh,
by the
what is with the
netcode
right-hand hooking? Everyone's getting loose, and right-hand hooking and some netcode worked to a lot of people's benefits there.
Yeah, that would have been disaster had that netcode not saved them. But you're right, that right-hand hook, that's the second time we've seen that. And that almost is reminiscent to me of the next-gen car on the NASCAR side of things with that diffuser. There was that issue for so long with the tire model where if you tried to correct a save, it was just going to go straight into that outside wall, shades of so many. I'm not going to make the reference, but either way, not a good situation. And now we're seeing it with these late model cars, and almost makes you wonder, how do you save it if they're hooking like that? Do you try to just let it spin down the track? But then if you try to let it spin down the track, you got that inside wall waiting for you as well. It's not a great situation once that car does break loose.
Well, a lot of these wrecks too, Andre, have been from drivers, the drivers who have been in that situation. They have been on the outside or well out of the rubbered groove, so it's really making me believe that the outside lane is just basically, an ice skating rink. You really haven't seen guys in the traditional line here that have had serious issues. But if you're up there second, third lane, which on the restart some of these guys have been, there's just no grip, no rubber, no heat, and these guys are really struggling to put the power down up there. And I am getting some confirmation from our chat, Van Meter Racing, saying that even in the real world here, there's really no grip in real life in turn 3 as it is in real life. So I guess iRacing emulated that with their service model pretty well.
Yeah, sometimes iRacing gets it right, and I definitely think that they got it right here, because I've not raced, obviously, Nashville, but I have watched some races here on Flow Racing and other services, and yeah, turn 3 is a bit of a trouble spot. So Props to iRacing there. We've got a lot of activity in chat. We got Carson fans, we got Kyle fans, we got John fans, we got people rooting for their favorite drivers. So thank you guys for tuning in. Thanks for letting us know who you're pulling for. Hopefully you guys get results that you're looking for and having fun here in chat as we approach the 1 quarter mark. As lap 99 is going to roll over to 100. And we are going to be getting this race back underway. Pace truck way ahead and down into pit road now. Dalton Collins, Carter Russo, they've danced this dance before. They're going to do it again. 21 with that good restart is going to move up into the solo lead. Dalton Collins having to play a little bit of defense. AJ Cruz in 3rd place, side by side for that position with Noah Carter. 83's got the
washing up the track.
Low. Yep, gets a little bit tight, but he did a good job keeping that car down low. There's some contact, but nobody's spinning. We're still going. Good piece of driving there by both these drivers. That's not a fun situation to be in, but they kept it going. On board now with Alan Young. Let's see what it's like from the driver's perspective. Trying to get around this treacherous track, all of this traffic, 2-3 wide. And cars are everywhere. He's boxed in and just trying to hit his marks down to that yellow line. And Corey, I'm noticing that while a lot of these drivers are trying to get to that yellow line.
There we go.
Oh, no. Oh, boy.
Now, I'll say from our chat, Mitchie, if you're taking your game seriously, I would be seriously concerned about your well-being at this point. Let's try to take a gander. I didn't really have any good triggers on that, Andre, so I guess we'll kind of leave the backstretch static cam up and wait for it to come to us. Oh, someone got loose. The 01 got loose. And I'll say everyone did a good job to evade him there.
I tell you, he got back into that inside wall, but he almost saved that after doing a 360 spin.
That was Kyle Goodbout there. Oh, is that the 01 or the 10? I guess perspective there. Yeah, that just like it looked like a tire blew there. The way that was so abrupt, it literally seemed like a tire blew on it.
And I'll tell you what, I like that driving out of that 01. He made sure that car stayed low. He made sure that car stayed low and did not go back up into traffic. I think he could have tried to correct it after he did this spin. But right here, he knows he's in a bad situation. He lets it get down to the wall and then keeps it going. He basically saved the entire field with that piece of driving.
I thought the 87 of Hanukkah there was going to spin at the back of the shot. So these replays are very in-depth here with the amount of cars we still have on circuit here. You can see that we are, let's pull up our stints one more time, 50 some odd laps into these stints right now. So most everybody has pit one time, one set of tires, and topped off the fuel once, so we'd have to use the old guesstimation and say, I mean, I don't have a fuel mileage here, Andre, because it usually doesn't come into play, but I'm going to guess maybe 110, 120, something like that. So these guys must have at least another 60, 70 in the tank, I'd imagine.
Yeah, I would imagine they can go quite far, and we've ran so many of these laps under pacing. It's been 50 laps for most of our leaders since they visited pit road, but
Hoyer just pit in the 13 car. He's the first one that in the 22nd spot.
So he's going to have some fresh tires. But as I was saying, those fresh tires may not be a huge advantage because these leaders really aren't putting a lot of green flag laps necessarily on these tires. Just a whole lot of pacing, which does make them worse. I mean, you're putting a cycle through them, but they're definitely not feeling like 50-lap old tires. I'll tell you that much. No. Pace truck getting ready to pull in.
Now, Andre, do you want to try some? You want to try some reverse luck here with our temporarily loud engines?
Yes, let's go ahead and go to temporarily loud engines and hope that they stay loud here.
Now, I wanted to, you know, get back to the commentary, but I also didn't, because maybe that was the car that got them back into good situations here, Andre. Because we went, for the first time, a temporarily without engines and didn't have a wreck. So absolutely fantastic stuff there. But coming up the track there, Tyler Muller, getting underneath the 24 of Alan Young, and that's Oliver Cordell. Remember, he was involved in that little hodgepodge on the front straightaway with one of the lappers a long time ago at this juncture. He's trying to knock on the door of a top 10. Heavily battered car, still showing some speed in the 11th spot.
Yeah, definitely showing some good speed, even in spite of the damage. And I think you're right. You know, I think a lot of what happens is just, you know, we give the races the primetime TV curse by opening our stupid mouths. And that time we kept them shut, and then we actually got some laps under green. So we might be onto something there as they continue to battle through the corner. That 17 now looking down low. He's going to dive it down to the yellow line. See if he can try to make something happen with the 78. He's going to be bouncing up and down. He's hitting the bumps like crazy, but he holds on to her. So he's going to make another run at it right here. I can't believe he didn't spin. As bouncy as that car was getting it, to use Lewis Hamilton's term, he was porpoising through the corner.
I was going to say, he must want some fruit salad because he had a case of the wiggles there to the 17, but he held on to it. Copyright, you can use that one if you want, but I want the royalties for it. Got some an ask in chat. John Canizaro, he had an issue of some capacity. I feel like he's got spun as half the field did at this juncture, but he's recovered quite nicely to the 8th spot there. And going a little bit further up, we see the 138 of Evan Hassler. I don't feel like that's a name we've talked too much about here on the evening, Andre, but he's got him up to the 4th spot. Let's kind of get a little bit of well, we said AJ Cruz had the best passing numbers here of the evening. That has been one up by Mr. Hassler.
Yeah, he has passed a ton of cars from 30th to 4th. He's looking to maybe pick up another one if they can get to the 95. And I don't know, he's got the speed. The yellow flag comes out again. Oh boy. See, I guess we should have left it on Crank It Up. But we will identify
85, that. Perhaps, of Craig Schmidt. He seems to be the closest one to some kind of incident. And it is. So let's figure out what happened then. He's running by himself. Entering turn number 1, he was free on entry and free through the middle, and even freer on exit. He was like Chinese food free samples. He was very free there.
And these cars, they're all getting loose. I mean, every driver seems to be struggling with that. I don't know if you can pull up the track temp for us, Corey, but I got to wonder if the track's getting a little bit hot out there. We did start under overcast, and
it
was
may
about
have gone
71,
up,
I think.
Yeah, a couple degrees at most. We've elapsed, what was it, 12:45, I think, when we started. So.
It's been a while.
I think I don't remember the exact in-sim date, but I believe it is pretty authentic to today's time. So here in the Northeast, it's dark by about 5 o'clock. So I would imagine a little bit further south, maybe 5:30. So I'm hoping we're not racing till the lights are on here, but
hopefully not. We might have to tweet Bob Pockrass and see if this track has lights. So
and
also, I want to talk to Chad a little bit here. So after I complimented Good Bout's save there, Stephen Barnett says that's the nicest you guys have been to Good Bout all week.
Oh,
I
yes.
admit, I gave JJ a little bit of a hard time at Watkins Glen. Definitely gave him a hard time.
So if there's a little feeder material, we cover a league on Thursdays, and his brother JJ, let's just say the racing style he performed to one of Andre's friends, who is a fellow driver, was not to the liking of Andre, or really to anybody for that matter. So some heavy-duty roasting was given, and
I wouldn't say I roasted him. I gave him a hard time, but I recognize a good piece of driving when I see it, and that was some skill out of Good Bout. He's been doing a good job tonight, and I do genuinely hope that he has a good performance here tonight. And you know, we here at Primetime TV, we're not here to play favorites or pick anybody out of the crowd. We just want to see some good racing. We want to see everybody have a good time, and that was a good piece of driving out of that 0-1. So we'll see what he can do as the night continues. He's got a lot of laps left to go to try to find his way further up front.
Oh, look at that jump. Green flag in the air there. But from that drone cam, we really saw the perspective of how much of a jump that the 21 got off the hole shot there. And coming off turn number 2, that 138 of Hassler, he is to the inside. Oh, close quarters racing. Really, Noah's washing AJ up the track there. And I know AJ, he's not going to like that too much if it continues. Luckily, clean and green, no contact made, but just shows that inside lane maybe starting to go away here with the track temp and the rubber wanting to wash up the track. Washing into the wall there was Hassler, top of the shot. But that 83 again, he's going up to the second lane, really forcing AJ up to the third lane, but he is able to complete the pass.
Yeah, he's going to get around him, at least for the time being, but it's going to be interesting to see if he can defend that position. It seems like that 57, it has been a little bit better on offense.
Yep, and he's doing the same thing. He gave him the same card. He gave him the same medicine.
Yeah, I was going to say that 57 has been so good on offense that he's really good at just getting the quarter panel under somebody, and he's able to hold that bottom line really well, just like the number 17 was earlier in the night. Unfortunately, not going to be able to maintain the momentum there, so it looks like Noah's going to hold him off for another lap. That is where Noah's been good. It's an interesting battle because the 57, he's good on offense, but Noah's been pretty good at keeping these drivers at bay. So 15 years old, by the way, this young man.
Well, I guess that
up here.
Yeah, this is also accurate, I guess, because he is 15. But basically, there was people who didn't fill out the spreadsheet, so instead of roasting them, I just made a very, very generic sentence. So
no accomplishments or fact.
Nope. Carter Russo, connection issues.
Uh-oh.
He's gone. He's here. He's gone. He's here. He's here. He's gone. Isn't that a Isn't that a 3 Doors Down song? I don't quite know, but I do know that they are not going to allow him to stay on the racetrack in that manner. So hopefully that clears up. It has. Hopefully it's not a Windows update or something downloading in the background, but that would be absolutely tragic. It's such a pivotal race, as you say, such an important race. As we talked about on that first caution, having a hardware issue completely out of your control take you out of the deal.
Yeah, that would be absolutely disastrous. It seems to be intermittent for Carter. We saw him blink a little bit earlier under pacing, and then it seemed to have cleared up, and now it's getting bad again. So hopefully, somebody didn't pick up the phone and ruin the dial-up connection. Oh boy, 49 machine in that inside
Roth.
barrier. Somebody in reverse.
Another, the fifth car upside down here today.
Man,
watch out.
The Chili Bowl has their
110, that's Barker. Barker just mutilated him, and then...
Oh, man. And watch this. Barker's going to put it in reverse to get to pit road. Pulling a bit of a Kyle Busch here. No, he gets going the right way.
Now let's take one more gander outdoors at that. Hits them, they morph, and then upon exit of morphage, some aerial action. Now I don't quite know why he had to back up for that. I mean, I guess, there you go. Probably could have just forced the turn there, but that's here nor there. We will be under caution for the 10th time? Maybe?
Roughly.
Survey.
We're going to say you're right.
We need to get we've been adding to our soundboards one by one. We kind of need a Steve Harvey. Survey says 12. Oh. I was a little optimistic there, but 12 cautions, 47 of the 133 laps. Jeffrey Clifton will be the lucky dog recipient there in that Mahindra, I guess it's a Camaro Super Late. That's something we haven't really seen. I'm pretty sure these are generic bodies, so these guys can paint them to their heart's content. I know a lot of times you'll see a Dodge in there. I know our late model guys, we have a Lexus driver. There's a Mustang. There's another Camaro. I don't see any crazy bodies here. I mean, I've even seen some Nissans in the mix. These guys get rather creative with their paint schemes.
Yeah, the late model template, it's a complicated template
on
iRacing. It's not necessarily one that's fun to paint, but it is one that offers you a lot of freedom. So you can do things like make Dodges, or I know we've seen Lexus cars in other leagues, and these guys definitely get creative and kind of imagine what it would be like if we had more than just a handful of manufacturers here in the stock car world.
What's his name? Steve O'Donnell. He's going to Japan to talk about hydrogen racing and bringing up more facts of manufacturers. we only have 600 horsepower. You guys wouldn't, that's what you want, right? We won't have more because that's what's going to get the manufacturers in, or so they say. But we are going to get going one more time. Let's, how many laps has Carter Russo been in control of this field? 132 of 135. Hot Atlanta, that is a dominating performance here. And let's see if it can continue. Evan Hassler to the outside. Will he get a better jump from the outside lane than last time? He's going to try, and I'll say he did so with relative success there. Green flag in the air. I'll take that back. From that angle, he did a terrible job. There goes Noah Carter to the inside, and he's, again, washing people up the track. I don't think that's going to work towards the end of this race, Andre, because as you saw with AJ, people don't like when you wash them up in the second, third lane like that. Caution.
Oh, boy. They get unlucky number 13.
Trying to discern something here. It wasn't what I thought it was. I don't really have a trigger for this one, Andre, so we're just going to call this a pseudo debris caution. It was not a debris caution, but I didn't really catch a trigger, and my back-end software didn't really give me anything of significance there, so.
Yeah, that does happen sometimes, especially if it was something that was a little bit further back. Could have been a very minor incident that didn't even really throw up the flags as far as the software, but it did cause a caution. So in the meantime, Good About fans rejoice. He's actually back inside the top 10 after that spin, as was pointed out in chat. Currently running P10 in the 01 car. He's got Kelsey Rogers ahead of him, and a lot of these drivers, man, they're just hoping that it stays green because they don't have time to pick up any positions. It takes a while to make the move at this track. We've talked about how difficult passing has been, and you really need to set them up and knock them down over the course of a few laps. And when we keep getting under yellow, a lot of these drivers just don't have time to work. And I know I did see a mention in chat there, how to keep Carson from passing. Just go under yellow, which, it's not just Carson. I think it's a lot of these drivers that have kind of been stagnated where they're at in the field as a result of this chaos.
Yeah, exactly that. I mean, we're having 1-2 lap sequences. I mean, really the only thing that I think will throw things off even further is eventually, as we said, these guys will have to pit. And when they do pit, it's going to pull a situation here where, maybe you throw a guy off via the pit strategy sequence. So I can see if that comes into fruition here, but we'll try this restart once more. Carter Russo to the inside, green flag back in the air.
I'm trying the method of staying quiet. Let's hope that we can stay green here. We are working sub-graphics for the moment. Corey is working on getting those overlays back up, but in the meantime, we do have a couple of laps of green flag action. The number 38 jumping up to second place, and look at this, he is challenging for the lead. Right on the bumper of the 21, he's going to go to the outside. There may have been a little bit of contact going into the corner. Now with that exit momentum, is he going to be able to get close enough? Not quite this time. But this is a battle for the lead through and through. That 38 matching the pace of the 21. A little bit further back, they are battling these two leaders, separating themselves from the pack, but make no mistake, tons of action behind them. 2 and 3 wide for third place. Look at that, the 83. Throwing a little bit of a defensive maneuver there. And if these leaders keep battling, I think that pack has a chance to regain that speed. And here we go. We got our graphics back up, timing and scoring operational. Ladies and gentlemen, still better than the AMA Supercross timing and scoring, even with that little bit of a hiccup. So we are back underway here. Look at that, the 24 sliding up the third lane, Corey.
Yeah, Alan Young all the way up there in the loose stuff, or as hopefully that doesn't happen in turn 3, because whenever it happens in turn 3, we've seen everybody go astray here. So keeps that car in check. I know Alan Young, a champion here in the ASR sanction, so definitely knows how to wheel one around. But looks like we are single file for the moment. Well, no, I think he's Oliver Cordell. Maybe, as we always say, the left front has damage. You gotta see the left front is heavily damaged. The right front is okay. So maybe if you damage the right front more, you'll get that thing back into tip-top shape, as we like to say sometimes. But We do have 22 drivers on the lead lap, Andre, given everything that we have gone through thus far, and battle for the lead. First time on the evening, we have a legitimate battle for the lead. Hassler closing in on Russo. Russo hasn't really had any serious pressure all night.
I do want to update, Jim Foose did let us know in chat that it was the 77 that brought out that caution. He had an issue which I believe spun him around, and nobody else was really collected as far as I'm aware. So that was the cause of the caution that we missed a little bit there. But on board with Evan Hassler, he is, I think, a little bit quicker at the current moment than Carter Russo, but it's going to be a matter of getting around him. And this is where you have to make a decision. Right? You don't want to get too aggressive. You don't want to move the leader out of the way for the lead right now because, look, you're not going to win the race on lap 150 out of 400. But what you will do...
Oh, look at the high-low move there.
Yeah, he doesn't have to get aggressive, it would seem. He's going to get down to the bottom. Let's see if he can carry that momentum. He washes up just a little bit. Loose is the 21. Drag race down the straightaway. That may have been the bobble that's going to give it to Hassler. It may have been just enough through the corner.
Oh!
Trying to do everything he can to hold on to it, but he's getting a little bit sideways, that extra horsepower.
And just in time for the caution. Is this number 3?
Is the 110.
Is this number 3, Andre? It may be.
I believe that is caution number 3 for the 110. So we'll see if he is parked for the evening.
Kiss the wall. And Honecker. So that was not the cause of the 110, but that very well could be Honecker's.
Yeah, that may have been the third for Honecker, because he was upside down at one point earlier, and I could have sworn he was involved in something else. So we're getting close either way. A lot of these drivers definitely reaching that incident limit.
Yeah, so the 110 hit the wall there when he slowed down. Honecker, I mean, I guess it vaguely could be considered a racing deal because the 110, when he hit the wall, it slowed him down so much that maybe Honecker was not able to react to it. So that one may be a little bit more difficult than originally thought for the race admin there to make that decision. But so Audrey, when we do have our overlay resets, it does kind of kill our notebook of stints. So now we have to throw all that stuff away. But what we do remember, at least that I do, is that's Holstein, who I believe he was upside down earlier. There's enough people who've been upside down in this race. I think they pitted roughly around 50, 60 in that ballpark, so they should be the top, I think 15 or so, be pretty close to pit stops.
Yeah, they're definitely getting closer. I don't know if they're going to risk pitting.
Noah Carter did pit.
Soon.
I do have that. He did take a set of tires there, so he's back to 16th, but he and about 7 or 8 drivers before that, well, after him rather, did all come in. Again, we have 23 now on the lead lap. We have Steve Wright. He is right there in the 24th position. Then we have Chad Barker, who he's probably, again, he's kind of on his last straw there. Charles Roth, 2 laps down. We have a couple guys 6 laps down, 8 laps down. We have 5 drivers who have taken it behind the wall. Alex Bonsignor, Glenn Stanley, Josh Cole, Kenneth Farmer, and Jeff Dillon didn't even make the first lap there with that issue.
So still a lot of cars on the track, a lot of damaged cars, which if you are among the horde of cars that has accrued a little bit of damage, that's a good thing because it kind of levels the playing field. But if you're one of these drivers up front that's still got a clean car, that's even better for you because you are able to have a bit of a handling advantage. You can pull away, get a little bit more separation perhaps. But Hassler going to be the control car here in that 38 machine. Technically scored as the 138, but paint scheme just showing a 38. And away he goes, choosing the bottom lane so far. The majority of race leaders and control cars have opted for that low lane, which is interesting because I know in the preliminary race we saw quite a few drivers opt to restart on the outside. And maybe that was because that race was at night. This race is at the daytime.
Tony Hawk, no. Pro Skater 2.
I'm more of a Pro Skater 3 man myself, but he's completed all the objectives, I think, with that round.
That was Kelsey Rogers there in the 34. Caution now has come out, but wall ride, contact, and 250 points. Combo did not sustain.
No, I think he can get the combo. You know, he hit the special trick there. You know, he's definitely got the objectives list crossed off. He didn't find the secret tape. I don't think he found the secret tape, but he's got a few of the objectives as he's now down pit road, and we are under caution once again. I want to take the time just again to thank everybody for tuning in. We've got a lot of activity in chat. Late Haulers, Van Meter Racing, Stephen Barnett, Stephen Heights, both the Steves we recognize from the Goose Graphics series, also on the channel, and a few other. Bryce Hudson, you guys have been chatting, and this channel is Corey's baby. You know, it's something that he works very hard on, and he was gracious enough to invite me on and have me help out now and again, and I have a lot of fun doing it. But this channel is something that
not now and again. You're basically you're my left-hand man at this point. You're the only one that I have working for me of all my old school partners. And again, if you have run in a race that Primetime Racing TV has put on at any point, it could be one of our first, you are eligible for the 1,000 subscriber showdown. It's going to be Mazda MX-5s at Nashville Super Speedway, and it's going to also be the late model stock at the Iowa Road Course. Complete night of fun. We got prizes. I actually have some buddies broadcasting it for me so I can race. So all you got to do is go to our Facebook page. The form is right there, and you can have some fun. And from what I hear, Andre is dusting off the old controller to join us as well.
Yeah, I might have to dust off the controller and get out on the track. I can't really guarantee that I'm going to do very well. I don't think I've done a race since Michigan. Like I said, I went out on top. You know, I got the win, and I just had to stop.
Well, the MX-5s at Nashville Super Speedway is basically like that C-Fix trucks. It's going to be 3-4 wide, but you can't go flat out. You are right at the edge of grip, which makes it super fun. It'll be some great racing. So again, just go to that website if you've been in a race that we've broadcasted. So anybody in this race is eligible, and you know, let's just have some fun together here. So again, we did have to do a graphics reset a few minutes ago, and when we did that, it did kill some of our race statistics. So we have not had 2 cautions. I think we are actually at 14. I think I reset it roughly around 12. It might even be more than that, but
I think we're at 15. You reset it at 13.
Okay.
And now we're up to 15, I believe.
All right, so we will have to, you know, just work with that. But what I do know is the top 13 are still out since their lap 60-ish pit stop. So again, I mean, there's always that risk, I suppose, Andre. We don't know the fuel numbers here that well because usually it just doesn't really happen. But what if we get one of those 50, 60 lap runs like we had earlier, and then all of a sudden these guys are making green flag stops? Like, wouldn't you eventually want to, you know, you're getting close to the end, just, you know, bite that bullet?
Yeah. You might. I mean, again, it's up to the drivers, and we do have confirmation in chat. Somebody's keeping count. We're at 15 yellows. I tell you what, Corey, earlier Stephen Barnett did suggest another Crank It Up. He enjoyed that segment. So why don't we let these guys get back under green with another Bring the Noise? When we say temporarily loud engines, we mean temporary. That's about as temporary as it gets. I think we got to turn 3 before trouble erupted, and we are now back under caution for what is the 16th time of the night here on lap 164. So apologies to Bryce Hudson and Stephen Barnett, who were really looking forward to that temporarily loud engines. Didn't quite get the sights and sounds that we were hoping for. But we are going to take a look at the PTR TV replay. And
113, Kelsey. That's Matt Vod. And
so close.
Matt Vod, one of the ones that was in the. He was one of the drivers that was in the OG American Sim Racing Series. You know, this series was originally sanctioned back in 2002. He's one of the old school members. Caleb Ramsey got a little bit punterinoed there by Michael Whiting, I believe that was. And then just chain reaction deal. Let's just get one more perspective from the 44.
So he's going to dive it in pretty deep here. And
that is a punterito, Michael.
Yeah, that's... I mean, you got two cars going for the same real estate, and I think there was a little bit of net code. I think the contact would have happened regardless, but everybody's racing hard. We're fighting for pretty limited track space, and unfortunately, they just kind of came together. The 113 came down the track a little bit, and car behind kind of came up. So it's tough, man. These short tracks, you have so little reaction time to really anything. And props to the 113. He almost saved it. I think if it hadn't been for that last little tap there, he was going to bring that thing back around, which we've not really seen tonight. It seems like once these super lates get loose, that's all she wrote. You're not really going to gather it back up. But I do remember there was a comment in chat a while ago, I think before lap 100. Somebody mentioned the tire model for the super late. The tires are excessively hard. Like the tire compound is not very soft. So you're going to do a lot of slip sliding and when you got this harder compound. And we've seen that tonight so far. But 38, they're going to be the control car again and again, opting for the bottom, as seems to be the trend. Again, back in the preliminary race on Thursday or on Wednesday, we saw a lot of drivers.
Request for an update on the 777 here. Another youth, 17 years old. I don't know what a dirt late model. That's what it is. So multiple time champion. You got to be young to be good at this thing these days. That's why I don't win anymore. But Evan Hassler is going to be the control vehicle there. Green flag in the air. And look at that 78. He's going to get right in line behind him there. Waste no time entering turn one.
And that's exactly what he needed to do. You know, right now the low line is the preferred line. And I think if he didn't get down there, he might have been fighting for third. So good move there, as they are going to be side by side behind him. It looks like, is that Lane Holzer in the number 90 machine? He's going to pick one off, and look at that. There's the 01, Kyle Goodbout, or JJ as we know from the other league. He's up into fifth now, as we had a little bit of an issue behind. Somebody got a little bit squirrely, but we stay green. That 01 is on the move. Despite the lack of green flag laps we've had, he has made a lot of overtakes so far. You cannot count him out yet. He's got his eyes set on the number 90. Let's go on board with Goodbout. As we roll down the back straightaway, he's going to look low. Doesn't quite have the momentum. He's going to think better of it there. But it seems like he's got a good car. Good gap to the cars behind as well, so he can really focus on the windshield rather than the mirror.
Now, Andre, something we have omitted here is Oliver Cordell on his comeback effort. He is underneath Jeffrey Clifton here. Carter Russo pit. We were dissecting replays so heavily there, nearly some contact. But Carter Russo pit 20 laps ago, so he has some fresh, I suppose it's Hoosiers here on that number 21 machine, and he is working through the field here, as most everybody else still has yet to pit since their pit stop around 100 laps ago.
Yeah, he's definitely got a good advantage if it stays green. He's a little bit off strategy, but he's got fresher tires. He's going to have a really fast car. To quote Clint Boyer, and the thing that he says every 5 minutes, that boy's got a rocket ship underneath him. So
let's not talk about Fox right now, because I read something on the old X that made me very unhappy. Craig Schmidt a lap down. That must be we must be getting close to number 3 on him too. Caleb Ramsey. No, this wasn't his fault. This wasn't his fault. Sorry, Caleb. I take it back. Take it back. Take it back. That's James Pileski in the 93 here. Oh, no, he was loose. All right, I take it back. I take it back. I untake back what I took back. That made as much sense as a dollar there, but...
What?
Yes, English words, all this fun stuff. Now, you have to imagine, Andre, we're catching the pace truck. They have to pit this time. Like, if you do not pit this time, then... I am just absolutely perplexed. And he thought about it. What? How have they not paid yet?
I don't know. They are definitely tempting fate, I think, here. It could just be that, we've had so many cautions. They don't want to risk giving up the track position and then not being able to make it back up because it's just not staying green for the time being. That could be playing into it. Also, I got to give a shout out to this comment in chat. I found this really funny. Late Hauler said, he didn't bump you or rub you. He wrecked you. And wrecking, son, is iRacing. That's not the Days of Thunder cut that I saw, but that's pretty fitting, I'd say.
That is Chad Barker there. I don't know if there's any relation to Bob, who, rest in peace, Price is Right. He's going to get one of his laps back. James Pileski is 1 lap down, but because he had an incident in said caution flag, he will no longer be issued that flag. Oh, that number 13. That font looks eerily familiar. Not that 13. There was another 13 car. What was I just following? It looked like it had like an old Hardee's font from back in the day, Cup Series. Now I need to find it. 13. Oh, Zach Coyer, that is. That car looks... Oh, okay, I see it. It's not Hardee's, it's Tegrides. I don't know what that is, but...
Tegrides.
What is it?
It's either Tegrides.
Oh, I thought you were correcting me, like, affirmatively.
Well, no, like, it's either Tegrides, like Tegrity Farms, maybe, or Tegrides.
Is that is that a leaf that is only legal in certain states on the hood?
Now including my state, in fact.
Yes,
I
it
believe
is.
so.
Okay,
so that is going to be Tegrity Farms. I like that. Also running the Days of Thunder kind of paint scheme with it as well. So, yeah, you know, one way or the other, he's probably having a good time behind the wheel.
Now, why is the 85 behind the pace truck right now? That's Craig Schmidt. He's 7 laps down. Now he is in... Is this going to delay it? I don't know quite what is going on. Are we... Yep, that delayed the caution there. Craig Schmidt in the 85 having... He's in the Ohio's Lost Speedways Camaro. That is actually a thing that Jim put on, you know, kind of pseudo to what Dale Jr. did. He went all around Ohio and took pictures of some dilapidated facilities and their history, which is fun yet depressing. You know, it's just like you see Auto Club getting destroyed, as we know that allegedly it's going to be a short track, but let's all be honest. If you've seen the pictures of how much land is around there, how many residential places, that place is never coming back. So rest in peace. It'll just be a relic on another Lost Speedways episode, but we'll see what happens here on another restart. You do have that 21 lurking back there in the 8th spot, the 138, the control car, Tyler Muller to the outside. Let's see what kind of jump they can get from that outside lane. I'll tell you, that's the best restart anybody's got from the outside. He's only going to lose a car length.
Yeah, he's going to be right on the bumper through the corner, so it's going to give him a good opportunity to try to reel him in a little bit down the back straightaway, although Evan Hassler does get a good corner exit, and that's going to keep him in the lead for the time being. But a full send from that 78. He closed up a little bit there, but then had to give that time up on exit. Side by side for third, we got Lane Holzer, Carson Lucas. I know we got a Carson Lucas fan in chat, so if you're pulling for that 88 machine, now is the time to get up on your feet, because he is going to be fighting for a podium position. He was up on the podium earlier in the night, and now he's back.
21!
Fresh tires, but a little bit loose. He's going to slot in position. Contact a good bout, but both drivers keep going. Props to the 21. He got out of the throttle there. That could have been a whole lot worse, but he had a lot of spatial awareness. And look at that, the 17, Oliver Cordell. That man was just about upside down at the start of the race. Now he's back up inside the top 10.
Yeah, that left front not doing too well there. And again, Noah is the one with that move. He's pushing people up higher, and I don't want to be the one that gets in trouble here post-race by everyone hating me, but he's running people up the track to make these moves, and I get it. You got to do what you got to do, but it's early in the race, and guys have not been liking that. But he's making the moves here within the top 10. You can see he's kind of forcing his way up there. He'll manage to clear for the spot. So whenever you do that, you got to run away, because if you make someone mad, the first thing you got to do is run away. But going a little bit further back here, and one of the guys who was upside down, Jonathan Holstein here. Of course, I always do this to the guys that don't fill up the spreadsheet. So, but he's there in the 14th spot. Again, he was upside down, so clearly these late models have a very strong roof, and the engine is also working well, because guys with significant damage really aren't seeming to be very off pace.
Yeah, it seems like they are able to maintain for now, and honestly, for the guys who have had damage, oh boy, 24, Adam Young, he's going to be a little bit sideways, and now around he goes. Not to sound like Rick Allen, but he's going to spin out, and he's going to have to get that thing corrected. Caution flies again.
Now what was it? It was a beverage of choice for every caution. Well, a beverage of choice for every time I've had to go look for a replay as well. But let's see what happens to Allen. Now, there's no way he spun out by himself. That is very un-Allen-like. But yeah, he got the bumps off of 2. He didn't hit him right. You know, a little small kiss to the wall. That's not going to be anything of note. But Yeah, that's very rare for Alan Young to have a self-spin there. Something that just I don't see very often. I've raced with him for years. And now Kyle Goodbout, we do have some pit stops here. Let's try to pull up our pit lane cam. So finally, finally we have some takers. There are some that still have not, but the majority of our front ones have taken the decision. Kyle Goodbout. Now, Andre, we have to. I feel like we've gone on both ends of the spectrum. So, is there a JJ and is there a Kyle, or is JJ the nickname?
I don't fully know. It's.
I mean, they both like pretzels because I'm pretty sure he has a pretzel paint scheme in that league too. Paulo's pretzels.
Yeah, so they are the same person. Kyle is JJ. I don't know which name is real. I don't know what reality is.
Okay.
I feel like we're just kind of just slipping through the cracks of reality.
Did your malls back in the day, which you have to say malls in past tense, did they have pretzel shops in it? Because I feel like every mall always had that like little kiosk or the tiny little sliver of a store that had those homemade fresh pretzels. Sometimes you get the pepperoni and the cheese stuffed ones, cinnamon sugar ones. No?
Yeah. I mean, actually, that was the only restaurant that my mall had or has.
And then they also had slushies too, or ice drinks, frozen drink, but we call them slushies or ices around here. Or you get the frozen lemonade. Now I'm just.
I remember. So little story about my mall. My mall is so dead that I actually was watching videos of people exploring dead malls.
Rolling Acres?
No, it is not that mall, but it's close.
Wasn't that one in Call of Duty? I think it was.
It might have been. But I was watching videos of people walking through these abandoned malls, and I was like, hey, wait a minute. That's my mall. And I still go there regularly.
Yep.
There is one restaurant. It's a pretzel time. They got the pretzels and the hot dogs wrapped in pretzels. And I remember one time that mall, in an effort to save itself, which did not work, decided to host an RC car race. And so me and a lot of the other RC racers around the county showed up and ran our race. And I went to the pretzel place at about noon. I was the only person there. And I asked for a coffee. And the woman behind the counter said to me, I'm not sure the coffee maker works. I've not made a coffee.
Oh, sounds about right. I've actually had my...
It did work.
Yeah, and I wonder how moldy the water line was in that. But that's rather here nor there. Just good stories to tell when you have a lot of cautions and some time to kill. But now we have Carter Russo to the outside. Kyle Goodbout to the inside. Has not pit in quite some time to the knowledge that we do have. A Carter Russo on relatively fresh tires on the outside. He's going to fall back in line behind Kyle. Let's see what kind of speed that 01 has in the front. Dalton Collins back there, from what I understand, hasn't pit in quite some time either. Some of that data might be outdated, but that's all we have to work with at the moment. We'll look at Oliver Cordell. He's underneath Noah, and Noah pushed him up the track a little bit earlier. I was going to say if Oliver was going to treat him the same, but couldn't get the momentum off. Here comes a 777. John Cannizzaro, I can't say that in one breath, took a look but falls back in line.
So we're going to get single file pretty early here. Hopefully that is good omens. This is the 77 getting on the apron just a little bit, clipped that left front, and had to get out of the throttle, give it a bit of a panic lift there. And I am receiving a text from a friend of mine watching this broadcast who says that the chassis in iRacing currently has an issue where the left front shock goes into negative bump stop. And that is something that I guess is being worked on for the next update, but it is an issue right now. So that may be part of why these cars are reacting to the bumps so violently. Why we're getting that little bit of porpoising through the corners.
Yeah, I mean, I am by no means a mechanic, but I know what a bump stop is. And for those that don't, I'm going to probably be wrong, and the 40 people in chat will tell me I'm wrong, but a shock condenses, and if you don't have something inside of it, it will literally metal to metal coil bind. So you put a bump stop in there, so that way the spring can only go down so far. So how that works into a negative must just be a physics anomaly, I would imagine. I don't see how that would work in real life, but again, I'm a fixed set guy who knows nothing about mechanic life.
Well, I can tell you also that I probably know where the root of that problem comes from. And this is a fun fact that I love to point out because, being a bit of a jerk towards iRacing is kind of my shtick. But iRacing's code came from the old Papyrus NASCAR racing games. And in NR 2003, the left front shock basically had really no relevance to the handling of the car. It didn't matter what you did, it didn't matter what you adjusted, it didn't really move, it didn't really do anything because the developers were like, okay, well, you know, they're on ovals, it's mostly the right side suspension that matters. And of course, you take those cars to road courses and it wouldn't feel quite right. I believe it was an issue that modders eventually did fix, given the modding community. But iRacing had that issue with the Cup cars for years when it was first a thing, and I believe they fixed it in the majority of stock cars, but according to what I'm hearing here, it may still be a problem for these late model stocks, just having issues getting that left front shock to work. But Kyle Goodbout, in the meantime, Corey, 1.3 seconds over Carter Russo, who, by the way, Carter has those fresh tires. We talked about him working his way up through the field, but look at those lap times. Kyle Goodbout working a little bit quicker so far than Russo. Just a couple hundredths, but that counts. And then Dalton Collins, a full 10th off pace, and another 10th back to Oliver Cordell. So definitely showing some muscle with that 0-1 machine.
Carson Lucas, I don't know if I pulled up his stuff earlier, about 14 years old, my Lanta. You got some youth in here in this race here. He's closing in on Lane Hostler there. He's on the relatively fresh tires as well, but clearly we're not really seeing much of a discrepancy. Actually, let me pull up our that 85. He's been one of the people. Oh, no. Never mind. We have Ryan Strunk, who he was involved in some stuff early, but has kind of been on a hot streak of lack of issues as of late, but that clearly came to an end, running by himself. And
it was the bump you saw. He hit a bump in the corner.
Now that was I'm going to say that was a sissy caution by Barney, because he was off the track.
Yeah, he had his finger on the button. He was waiting for that one.
Yeah, so be it as it may, it puts us under caution. Now Paula's Pretzels is taking it to the apron here, and finally will make its effort into the pits here. We'll see if anybody else comes to follow. Very, very narrow and abrupt pit entry here, and nearly... that's AJ Cruz, I believe. And that's about it.
Everybody else working their way through. The 0-1 getting that car serviced, so he's going to give up some track position, but he will have fresher tires. In the meantime, lap 205, just past halfway. We're going to go to a side-by-side break. Stay tuned. We'll be back for the drop of the green, covering the rest of the All-American 400.
Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head-to-head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series in officially licensed cars engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible.
And we are back, getting ready for the drop of the green here on lap 208, coming to 209. we got some fans of the 83 car in chat asking how things have been going for Noah Carter, and well, they've been going pretty well. He's been a top 5 car all night long. He's been battling for position, and now starting on row 2 behind our current race leader, Carter Russo, who has led in excess of 100 laps so far tonight. Dalton Collins going to slide into second place. Dalton, we were talking about earlier, he's got that 1,000 I rating, has big issues behind. Oh boy. Scrambling.
Is that Barker again? I think so.
That may have been.
Yep, that has to be number 3 for him.
Yeah, I mean, it's
hard.
hard.
Who is that? That was the 04 Mark Myers there that got some residuals off of that.
Oh, and then into the concrete barrier. Yeah, that's getting close. He's definitely playing with fire. I'm not sure if that's going to be him getting parked. We do have somebody asking about the 93 car in chat. Van Meter Racing asking about the 93. Let's see if we can maybe find him on the scoring pylon. I don't see him at a glance. Started 4th, currently 17th, but he is on the lead lap. So James Pileski still on the lead lap, which is more than some drivers can say, and relatively, well, I was going to say relatively little damage, but then the camera angle changed, and I can see now that he does have some damage, but he's still alive, he's still in the fight, and we got a lot of miles of road up ahead of us, so you can't count Mr. Pileski out. I've seen Pileski run a couple races over the last couple weeks, and I definitely know that he's a driver that he knows what he's doing. So he may be a little bit further back now, but we'll see where he goes for the time being, and his truck picking everybody up. Man, oh man, this running order, Corey, I don't think I have seen a race with this many cautions where the running order changes so drastically. But because of the split strategy with the caution, some drivers coming down pit road, some not, it's really flip-flopped back and forth. But Carter Russo back up front, Dalton Collins, Oliver Cordell, who was involved in that incident earlier, back up on the podium.
Now, I'm going to pull up our stints here, Andre. So it's partially broken because it's been 212 laps. So basically what happened is I had to reset the overlays roughly around like lap 150. So the reason it says 212 is because it lost its like cumulative data. But basically what it means is they haven't pit since I reset the overlays, which was around lap 150. So they are still, they're in the oldest pitting situation imaginable now, those that say 213. Everybody else is accurate. So Carter Russo, comparative to, a Carson Lucas, he has 40 less laps on the tires, but he doesn't have the track position, which track position has been very paramount because it's been hard to gain track position, with the amount of yellows that we have had in quick succession here, as I thought they were doubling up by themselves, but that kind of teased me into believing we were on one to go, but perhaps we'll get it this time by.
And Van Meter Racing said the 93 is a friend of his, that's why he asked. And yeah, don't ever feel afraid to ask for an update on a driver. If we're not giving somebody camera time, we try to get to everybody, but we are not omnipotent. We can't see everything. And if you want to know what's going on,
what was
let us
that
know.
word? Omnipotent?
Yes.
Translate
Maybe
for those with a 3rd grade vocabulary?
All-knowing.
Okay,
I would say
omnipotent. That's not even a 50 cent. That's like a 75 cent word right there.
Close enough, but yeah, just don't be afraid to ask. We will try to update anybody on where their favorite driver is. And speaking of your favorite drivers, they're about to get back green. 21 is going to be the control car here. He's got the 95 on the outside. Familiar situation, familiar scenes for Dalton Collins. He's been on the outside of row 1 almost a dozen times on restarts tonight, and now he's got a really good restart. That may be the best restart I've seen out of anybody on that outside lane. I know that you just talked about the 83 getting a good restart on the outside, but here comes the 95 as caution flies again.
This has to be number 3. It feels like I say this every caution, but this has to be number 3. But maybe it wasn't his fault. Maybe it wasn't. Okay, that one wasn't his fault.
No, just a
okay, Caleb, I absolve you that time by, and I did get the word absolve from you as well, by the way, so thank you for enhancing my vocabulary, sir, my diction. Let's see what happened from the top down view.
So they were really just fighting pretty hard for position there, I think. Yeah, 777 just kind of...
No, that was Tyler. That was Tyler Muller. That was.
Yeah, just kind of drifted up a little bit, got into the quarter panel, and The thing is, it's so tough because, yeah, he drifted up into him, but again, that's where the car naturally wants to go. Coming out of the corner, it's going to get a little bit tight. You're on the loud pedal, and just a little bit of a tap sends the 113 around. He's already had his fair share of problems. You can see that 113 looking like a crumpled soda can at the moment, but still continuing to power on.
Now, you do have some fellows in chat, Andre, that also use the word omnipotent. The Holy Egg says he uses it more than anybody, so I'm trying to spell it so I can actually get a... having unlimited power, able to do anything. That is the New Oxford American Dictionary definition. So, having unlimited power. So, you could say that about some... Not this league, but never mind. I'm not going to get myself fired from other gigs here.
So we are under a caution, and Van Meter also asked about the 77 and the 21. Well, we know where the 21 is. We know where the 777 is. We know where the 93 is. But the number 77, let's see where he may be through this film again.
He's in 8th. He did not fill out the spreadsheet, so we do not have personalized information for him. 93 we just referenced, and then the number 21 mobile, that would be the... Yeah, Carter Russo, who has been up front for... I'm going to throw a number out there that would be 161 laps led.
I would say that's probably accurate. I'm gonna price this right you. I'm gonna say 162.
Survey says... Oh!
Oh my goodness, Corey.
Hot diggity dog, and I did not cheat.
Oh my.
Wow, that is the most
good.
useless accomplishment, but I am thrilled. All right.
I mean, it's too bad they don't do Prices Right anymore. You could.
What do you mean they don't do Prices Right? Drew Carey hosts it.
I don't know. They do?
Yeah, Drew Carey hosts it.
Still.
Yes, it's like year 60, 1970. It's like 62nd year, I think.
My goodness, I got a lot of catching up to do.
Yeah, it's a completely different ball game than it used to be. But it is still there. I mean, I still watch it, but it's not the same. Bob Barker was just an essence, and unfortunately, he died at 99. As all the good celebrities couldn't quite make it to age 100, unfortunately. But let's see what happens on this next incoming restart. Collins was really getting good starts on that outside lane, and he will get a modest one there. Russo goes right to the top of the track, and Cordell, he's going to go down to third. Can he clear off of 4? Carter, yes he will. And after all the follies, after all the damage, Oliver Cordell back on the podium.
Yeah, he's doing pretty well there. Noah Carter continuing his steady run. Again, he's been in the top 5 the majority of the day. I know you've been pointing out he's really been muscling some guys up the track for a little bit, but I really feel like he's been doing it pretty clean.
There we go.
We have more issues.
Holstein.
23 round. Okay, at this point, look, if anybody is actually doing the drinking game, please stop.
Yes.
We care about you.
Ambulances are expensive too, and you know how bad the insurance system is in America.
You don't want anybody to see you get sick and threaten to call an ambulance. That's the worst thing that could happen. As the 73, well, that's the second worst thing that could happen, getting a driver's side slapped to the concrete barrier.
Yeah, let's see what happened from the top-down perspective, and that was Jeffrey Clifton to his inside. They're battling through 1 and 2 here. 38 car just behind, and he got loose, and then we just had a dominoes effect there. Luckily, nobody had any secondary issues from that.
Yeah, and you know, even for as hard of a hit as that was, it looks like the 73 may have escaped with only moderate damage.
Chat is accusing me of rigging the system and cheating on the caution. So if the only way that I can read laps led is to pull up the very graphic that you guys read. So there is literally no way I could have known that. That was just dumb luck, and unfortunately it does not pay out absolutely anything. Except when I rewatch this broadcast a few days from now, I'll be like, oh, hey, that was pretty cool.
Yeah, that's a clip that you're probably going to rewatch a few times, but...
no, I'm gonna rewatch the opening, because if you missed the broadcast, we had Kevin James do the Gentlemen Start Your Engines. Now, there was a driver, Jimmy McKinley, and I don't know the full backstory with him. He's been in the league, not presently, but for a while now. he was at the racetrack when he filmed a little clip, but it was already to the point where I couldn't undo what I'd already did just because of time leading into the broadcast. But he was going to do the opening Gentlemen Start Your Engines, but we had Kevin James do it. And it was fitting, not just for the meme, it was actually fitting because he said, God bless our troops, God bless America. And of course, if you are watching this live, as many are, this is Veterans Day. So of course, you know, we thank everyone who has taken those difficult decisions and made those dangerous treks to help protect our country. So God bless everybody, and thank you all for that. Thanks for tuning in here to PTR TV. Again, a little bit rough around the edges this race is, but it's so much fun, Andre. It's been a while since we've had, you know, a very dynamic chat. You know, we can have fun with each other, have fun with the viewers, and you know, just have a fun night of racing here.
Yep, that is the goal, and I think that's what Jim Foose wants more than anything, is just for everybody to have a good time. And you know, you don't always have to have a straight green flag to checkered flag race to have fun. And again, big thanks to the chat. Van Meter says we're at 21 cautions, and late haulers responded with, because of all the wrecks, the number 911 ambulance may actually have a chance of winning the race, which, quite frankly, it does. But I think the pace car may have him.
I was going to say, what was it, at Martinsville, where the pace vehicle stopped working and everyone roasted it because it was a hybrid, I think. And so hopefully that iRacing generic pace truck, it got its appropriate oil changes, maybe got some brakes done, maybe hopefully the tires, you know, the rubber doesn't, you know, clump up and destroy some of the inner electronics there. But we'll try our umpteenth restart for the race. Carter Russo to the inside, Dalton Collins to the outside. First time that 17 has been in a good position. He's down the inside in third. Green flag back in the air. And we'll try this once more, and let's go join the fans and see how they like the view.
From the grandstands, we're going to see this field battle down the back straightaway now into the high banks of 3 and 4. Let's see if we can get a lap in the books here. Carter Russo going to play a little bit of defense, keeping Dalton Collins at an arm's length. Third place, also single file. The first battle's a little bit further back. That's going to be the number 90 of Lane Holzer.
Oh, there we go.
Outside. Oh, and we see a smoke show. It was involved.
And it was not an attractive woman. It was not that smoke show. It was the 20-something caution, I think.
22nd, according to.
That is why I said something, because I did not know the exact number on it. But we'll take another gander outdoors. And I'm trying to make sure I find somebody of cause here, because I didn't. Number 10 car, as we can see there, he had some issues. Now let's go in. Now that I reminded myself who caused it, that was Travis Wright. He was at the center of it. Let's go get a little bit more finite detail as to what happened to him there on the back straightaway. Alan Young around him. Oh, he got loose.
Hit the bumps. And unfortunately, the 93, Pileski, getting a big chunk of that. He already was kind of working with a wounded horse there. And now, well, it's even more wounded. Hopefully we don't have to take it out back, because that was quite a hit. Let's see it from Pileski's perspective. Down through the corner, he's got the 24 on the outside, but the 10 gets loose in front.
Oh,
he tries to go high to avoid it, but just a wallop to both sides there, left and right.
A wallop? Is he at the wall?
Yeah, that's a Darrell Waltrip expression, I'd have to say. That's where I heard it the most. I'm sure it's probably not something he came up with, but, well, I mean, you never know. Darrell Waltrip, he came up with a lot of things on the fly.
Yep, so we got, again, some of these, someone said they're going to go ahead and run an iRacing official race, and they'll be back. So, yeah, again, if we go green flag for the next 168 laps, it would actually be less than 1 hour of activity here. Now, let's just, again, our stints. There are 3 guys that have not pitted roughly for 80 laps. It's not 232, but the fact that it is so outrageous kind of lets us know how long they have stayed out for. So you can see Carter Russo, he has been out for 80 laps, so it's probably pushing like 130 or something like that on Dalton, if we have the exact number there.
Yeah, he's definitely pushing it as far as fuel and tires are concerned. Also, Steve Heights pointed out in that incident, pretty good avoidance by Goodbout in the 0-1. He just barely squeaked through And I was going to mention that, and then kind of cut away, but he did get a good avoidance, and that's kind of the scary situation. He gave up that track position when he came down pit road not too long ago. And when you do that, you kind of put yourself in the hornet's nest, right? Midfield is where all those wrecks are going to be, and you have to really focus on survival more than speed when you find yourself back there. And so far, Goodbat's done a good job of that, and we'll see if he can pick up a few more positions, get back up inside the top 10, but it is going to be the 21 adding to his total laps led. Hopefully we can get a nice green flag stint. But Dalton Collins, I got to be thinking, if we're going to get any more cautions, Dalton's thinking about pitting potentially. But we are doubled up, and whatever the future may hold, we're going to find out. Base truck going to pull in. We're going to do it all over again. Very familiar front and second row. Same names as the last restart, the 95, the 21, the 17, and the 83. And I know there are some Noah Carter fans in chat, so keep your eye on that 83, the 21 down to the bottom, then up to the top. It's going to be side by side for the bottom step of the podium. 17 rocking that low side, and there we go again.
Let's see what happened this time by. We have the 88 of Carson Lucas. Oh, that's not going to make our chat too happy.
Yeah, I didn't even quite see how he got caught up in that, but we did see the Tegrity car involved. Number 13, a few other cars, so keep your
Jeffrey
eye.
Clifton got a little bit loose. That may have been net code. I'm not quite sure. We'll have to look at it from the nose of the one. I may have cut away a little soon there, but we'll have to go back and check that out. But let's go on board from the one.
So it was the 88 instead of the 83. So the 88 gets tagged a little bit there, and then he has a head-on collision behind the camera car there. It was a drastic hit. I think the other car actually wound up glitching through his hood. So there's Pileski, unfortunately, and then bam!
Yeah, that's the 85 of Craig Schmidt, who he has already had an interesting day of carnage, I suppose, but we will, looks like everybody stayed on track. Carter Russo still having some connectivity issues, but well, we are under yet another caution flag. We're going to step aside, take another breather, and we'll be back with you for the restart. So stay with us, we won't miss a thing.
Racing isn't easy, but experience.
And we're back here on PTR TV for the 26th annual online All-American 400. I believe we mathematically calculated that we're at 24 cautions here on the evening, but let's see. Oh, Arja, you called it. You called that they said they might have to go single file, and what happened? They went single file for this restart. Green flag back in the air.
And so that's actually, you were right about the laps led, and I was right about going to single file. So Put that on the board. We got the dirt is wrong tally. Now let's put that
there we
on the
go.
dirt. Oh my goodness. It didn't help. And, oh no, Goodbout is in it. After he was actually back inside the top 10, staging a huge comeback. And I see he has got a piece of it. The number 23, I believe, got a piece of this. 73, I was apologizing.
Okay, so we caught the cause of it right there. It was stemming around the 10 of Travis Wright. I don't know. No, it wasn't the 10.
Travis Wright.
It wasn't the 10. It was the 01. I'm dyslexic here. I got it backwards. Kyle Goodbout. Now, we talked about, Andre, like, the roof numbers in these late models being inversed. 78 to the inside, contact, wall, rest in peace Holstein there. And everybody did a modestly decent job. That could have been a lot worse than it was.
Yeah, that was some really good evasion throughout the whole field.
Yeah, who is that? Somebody. The 13. We got to get it on board the 13. He slalom more than a skier right there.
Yeah, he definitely weaved it back and forth, and what a good piece of driving by that number 13. Now, Goodbout definitely got some damage from that, but watching the replay, I think he should be able to at least continue on, although he's probably going to want to head down pit road, get some of the bodywork beat out to try to fix some of that damage. In the meantime, back under pacing, lap 243 out of 400. We went single file. It did not seem to help. So,
well, this juncture, I think we can kind of do a little bit of a through the field, I reckon, at this juncture. We have Carter Russo as our race leader. There's nothing there because he is the leader. But second place, Oliver Cordell. Then you have Noah Carter in third, Evan Hassler in fourth, John Canizaro in the fifth spot. We'll change it over to this graphic. Sixth, we have Lane Hostler, Michael Whiting in seventh, Alan Young in eighth, Benny Hogan in ninth, and then 10th we have Caleb Ramsey. Then we have, we'll finish up the lead lap drivers, AJ Cruz in 11th, Travis Wright in 12th, Zach Coyer in 13th, Ryan Strunk in 14th, Jeffrey Clinton in 15th, Dalton Collins, he did pit. He is back in 16th. James Pileski in 17th. 18th is Kyle Goodbout. 19th is Tyler Muller. And he is the last on the lead lap. 19 cars. We have Charles Roth in 20th, 1 lap down. Carson Lucas in 21st, 1 lap down. Steve Wright 3 laps down in the 22nd spot. And the last cars physically on circuit right now. We have, as all my scoring just went absolutely kerplunk right here, but I think there's only about 3 other guys on track behind him that are still on circuit, many laps down.
Yeah, so we've had some attrition, but still a lot of cars in the field that are operational.
Myers in 24th, Vade 25th, Craig Schmidt 26th. That would be the remainder. But again, single file per our admin who is in chat. The call is single file restarts to try and get some racing here on the board here. 153 laps to go coming to get it this time by. You can see they're already pulling out a line there. I don't know the legalities of that. I don't think this was really talked about, so I don't know if there are any legalities, but took a really quick move to the inside for Hassler underneath Noah Carter there. And some contact, and luckily they're able to keep control of the vehicles.
I don't think there was contact. I think they just got a little bit loose on their own there. Now, and it goes too wide through the corner, maybe a little bit of a side draft down the straightaway. Now, the legality of pulling out a line, I think it's perfectly legal because he didn't pass him. He was not ahead of the line, so you can be as far up or down the track as you want. He used that to his advantage there, but the 777, he is hitting the jackpot here with a great move on the low side. He's going to get up 1 more on the scoring pylon at the expense of that 83 Noah Carter. Meanwhile, Lane Holzer sitting here watching this battle transpire, trying to figure out how he's going to work his way through, maybe trying to follow in the tire tracks of John Canizaro. As we finally get a little bit of separation, we're seeing the single file restart doing its job here. Everybody able to get a little bit of breathing room. Hopefully they can use it to good effect. 77 as we're following along with Benny Hogan. He's just at the tail end of the top 10 and some battling further back. The Tegrity car, which we did see involved in that incident, the 67, which was involved in numerous incidents. These guys going side by side, and on fresh tires and fresh fuel, the 95 is trying to work his way through the field.
Fresh fuel as opposed to expired fuel, I suppose. That's Dalton Collins there. He's getting free. He just pit, so he has the fresh tires there, but they're cold and need to get back up to temp, and he's back in the 16th spot, no track position. And unfortunately for him, he makes his pit stop. No way you could have predicted this. He made his pit stop, and then we go single file. So now he is, double the interval back to the leader as he would have been otherwise.
Yeah, got a good gap there. These front two cars just pulling away with it. Carter Russo, who our timing and scoring says has won this race. I don't think he won on lap 253, but ignore the timing and scoring. Oliver Cordell pulling in close. Great 3 and 4. They're going to go down into the turn, hooked at the bumper.
I don't know. That's never happened before. He's won lap 2.
Has anybody told him he won? He can just pull off now. I mean,
yeah, I've reset it multiple times, but for some reason, it is like all of my my back-end graphics are saying checkered flag. So absolutely no idea, but make of it as we will. We'll continue on and just ignore that little nuance for the time being. But they've pulled away by nearly 2 seconds there. Third place, you have the 38 and the 777. That's Hassler and Canizaro there, and Noah Carter back there in 5th. Is he going to go to the bottom? Is he going to go to the top? I almost wonder where the preferred groove is at this point. I don't think it really is the bottom anymore, if we're being honest with each other, but we'll see what happens. And then Lane Hassler just behind there.
For the time being, I would say the preferred groove is just anywhere where the bumps don't spin you out. We've seen it happen so many times tonight. I think these guys are more focused on staying clean than they are on speed. But battle for the lead, oh my goodness. The 17 so good on corner exit, a bit of a lap car in the 85 going to play into this battle. That 17 is booking it right now. He's looking all over the track for a way around Carter Russo, but he has not found it yet. He's still got that left front damage, some of which has been fixed a little bit throughout the course of his pit stops that he's made prior, but still dealing with a little bit of that aero damage, and yet still able to keep pace with the 21. And it seems to be the exit where he is faster. He gets into the corner, he's about the same pace, but then on exit he closes in just a little bit. And one thing about the single file restarts, well, that basically makes the field twice as long on these restarts. So they get into the lap traffic a lot quicker, and we're seeing that as they've already navigated 2 cars. They got another one in their windshield, and that is a huge thing for these drivers to think about as they battle for the lead. Now 2.9 seconds over Hassler and Canizaro. Noah Carter tail into the top 5. He's 3.3 seconds back. He is just fending off Lane Holger in the 90s. So these drivers having a battle of their own while the leaders are up there fighting their fight. Everybody scrapping for position, but luckily able to get slightly more wiggle room than we had prior, and that is allowing for some good battles here. The 77 gets loose out of the corner. Here comes Noah. He's going to get down to the bottom. He's muscled by some people on that low side before. Let's see if he can pull it off again, Corey. 3 wide.
Oh, yeah. Everyone is all over the place here trying to get around these slower cars, and slower cars are staying high and wide. They're doing everything they need to do, but sometimes they're a little bit slower than the leaders are expecting, and it puts them in those precarious positions where having to evade rather quickly. That did separate that 3rd, 4th, 5th battle. Hassler now has a little bit of breathing room there over Noah Carter in 4th, and Canizaro drops back just a little bit. So again, you can really see the spread here as we'll go from our top down, our billboard cam, our spotter cam here at Nashville, and I'm starting to think we will be turning the lights on there, Andre, based on how things are looking. But you can see a lot more space in between these guys, which is exactly what the strategy is meant to do. It is meant to spread the field out. It's doing just that and allowing us to click off some laps.
Yeah, the sun is starting to set, and race administrator Jim Foose has confirmed in chat that the lights will be coming on sooner rather than later. We also have a fan of Evan Hassler in chat saying you better watch that 38 car. Bud is one of the best. Well, he's been doing pretty good so far tonight, and we've definitely seen him put in some work and make some good overtakes. Currently on the bottom step of the podium, definitely showing some talent here, and we can't wait to see what he can do if this green flag run continues. He's got Noah right behind him. He's got the 777. All 3 of these drivers have done a phenomenal job, and right now this battle really heating up as A little bit further back, there's the 57 machine, AJ Cruz. He has been up and down the field. He started in the back, worked his way all the way to the front. Now he's somewhere in between, just inside the top 10. He's got Alan Young up the road with the 44 and Michael Whiting right behind. So, I tell you what, this stint proving to be pretty good.
Yeah, Young has been, up and down. He's not really shown top 4, top 5 speed, but he's been hanging out in that maybe 6th through 8th. And I'm very surprised. I know he had a little bit of an issue with the front, well, one of the walls. He got loose by himself, which is an oddity for him, but all is well there. I think the nearest battle for position is actually right here, called Jeffrey Clifton to the inside of Benny Hogan there. That is for 10th and 11th. And just behind that, Caleb Ramsey, who clearly he's not at number 3, but he has to be adding more marbles to the wet tissue there. As I don't know how much longer he's going to have before he's out of the race, so hopefully he can keep it clean.
Yeah, that car definitely looking worse for wear, and unfortunately, I mean, a lot of the incidents he's been involved in haven't really been his fault. He's just been wrong place, wrong time, and that is the risk you run. I was talking about Goodbout earlier, getting involved in that scuffle and being able to avoid a few as well. But, when you're mid-pack, that's kind of where you expect the trouble to be. So it's a tough place to be. Ideally, everybody wants to be up where Carter Russo is, up in the lead. Although Oliver Cordell, still not letting him pull away. I mean, these two have been within a 10th or 2 of each other for the entirety of this green flag stint since it dropped about 20 laps ago. See the 17 a little bit further down the track, about half a lane, and you saw those gloves just in the corner of the frame flicking back and forth. That was a little bit of counter steer, and that shows how hard he is driving this thing. Look at him, saw on the wheel in that 5-hour energy fire suit, doing everything he can, wheeling this thing to get around Carter Russo, but he is just throwing up some great defense. Big move there.
Yeah, he might need some 5-hour energy. This race might be pushing the 5-hour mark, but no, actually we've been clicking it off here and doing some good things, closing in on the end of it. And now remember, we've talked a few times that our graphics are a little bit wonky right now. So obviously it says that Russo has won, but and a lot of my graphics are saying that everybody has finished the race. So I don't know what that's going on. But from what we know, Andre, he has not pit in a very, very, very long time. Not 245 laps, but he's definitely been, it's at least 93. It's more than 93, probably closer to 150 now that 17 hasn't been in the pits.
Yeah, again, the entire field is on such drastically different pit strategy due to all the cautions. It's nigh on impossible to keep track of fully, but I think you're right, it has been a while, so you'd think he'd be at a bit of a tire disadvantage, but that doesn't seem to be the case as he's keeping pace with Carter Russo. And another thing to keep in mind is the fuel load. I mean, not just because you're worried about running out of fuel, but in these late models especially, how much fuel you have in the tank can affect the handling. You feel the weight, and when you burn off the fuel...
Caleb Ramsey into the pits right now.
He's going to take right sides.
So this is a green flag stop.
Indeed it is. Is this our first one of the night?
Yeah, just to clarify here, this is a green flag pit stop. So those guys that you saw the 245 value, again, that's not a correct. It's probably closer to like 150, 160. We had to do an overlay reset a little bit earlier, but that seemed like a green flag stop. So for these guys, we have Cordell, we have Clifton, and Charles Roth. He's a couple laps down, but it may be coming to the green flag point because they aren't getting that caution that they need. But Cordell, he's not worried about that right now, if that's even an applicable situation. He's still worried about that race lead, trying to go for the lead, and also rocking the picks through the lap traffic.
Man, that 17 is so good through the corner. He's just rolling the bottom, and it's helping him close in on that 21. But I think it's going to take a bobble. He just can't quite get underneath of him. And I don't think right now that the cars are in a condition where he can make a move on the high side. He is rolling, but he just can't quite. I mean, now he's looking to the outside, but again, I don't know if that's going to be a feasible move. Down the back straightaway, still at the bumper. Look at how deep he drives it into the corner. He is stuck to that 21.
And usually that doesn't work, but oh goodness gracious, that's the 49 of Charles Roth. You look into the outside, now he's going to set him up for the crossover, get a look to the inside, but didn't have enough mojo, not enough mustard off the corner to make it stick, but he's going for that high-low, and that's the caution he needs, and it's actually Pileski, 93 car, and that car is crab walking.
Yeah, Pileski has had one rough night behind the wheel of that 93. It's not been fun, and
that was not nearly as good as, I think that was Kelsey Rogers earlier who ate the wall.
May have been attempting to pull a Herbie fully loaded there, climbing up the wall.
What is it?
Unfortunately.
If anybody in chat who races more than we do, why is we've seen this more and more lately under these. Yeah, oh yeah, that was aggressive, but we've seen so many kisses to the wall, the little smoke shows down the straightaway, but my question is, why are they running that close to the wall down the straightaway to where the net code even can become a thing? But there must be some advantageous reason to it that we don't know. But a lot of guys coming into pit lane right now, which, you know, Cordell definitely needs it, but he's not going to be able to fix any of that damage because now he's in such a good position. He's going to need 4 tires and fuel as quickly as possible. But let's see.
Yeah, I don't think he wants to fix much damage here. He wants that track position more than anything.
Russo out.
Well, the jack dropped and he stayed for a second.
Yeah.
He beat the 10. He is going to get around the 10, just barely.
Yeah, I'm looking at the back end times, Andre, and Cordell did have a longer pit stop than most guys in his position. We'll bring up the specifics here. 22.2, which is right in the ballpark. High 21s, low 22s. But then we have Cordell at a 26.6, so it's almost as if he did take just a few quick seconds of that repair, but it didn't cost him too much. You did have Ryan Strunk only take a 10-second pit stop from the second position, and that is going to be negated by the fact that he is coming down to the pits. He may have just wanted to catch up and then have more time to pit this next time round.
Yeah, you don't want to go a lap down getting damage fixed or really doing anything, and it is very possible. Again, we don't have NASCAR Cup Series pit crews, and we don't have $200,000 air guns to get these tires changed, so you spend a lot more time coming in and out of pit road.
Especially when your pit crews are as attentive as that. Hey, I went and got a McDouble last night, and they didn't put the pickles on it. No way! I went to Wendy's, and the fries were cold. I mean, when are we going to go? Maybe we'll just go to Chipotle next time. Guys, tires, you know, help me out.
Nah, they're too busy talking about their chicken sandwiches, but he is going to get out of pit road here, and he should beat the pace truck pretty handily, so no worries about going a lap down there. I believe we're going to keep the single file restart, but I could be wrong now that things have cleaned up a little bit. I don't know what exactly decision will be made there, but I guess we'll find out in due time. Now,
Andre, I'm getting some, I'm just going in the Discord here, so we got to dial all the way back to lap 1. Jeff Dillon in the 52, he beelined the fence. It was an iRacing crash that did cause that. So, and that may have been because of computer issues with the frame rates. But yeah, I just noticed that. Thought it was worth bringing out as, you know, we didn't think we were going to go under the lights here, Andre, but we got 112 laps to go, and it's getting there. So I think we're going to be finishing this thing under the lights. But let's see what happens. Green flag back in the air for another restart. Russo gets another one of his amazing restarts. Cordell gets back up to second. They're going to be door-to-door for third. It's going to be Tyler Muller, who hasn't been up front in quite some time, along with the 10 of Travis Wright, Noah Carter, and the 777 of John Cannizzaro in a row behind.
And that is going to be 2x2 all the way back. These guys fighting for every single position. The 83 got a little bit loose there in the 77.
Wall contact caution.
Yep, that happened right behind Noah Carter.
No.
Who made a good save there when he got loose. He was able to correct that machine.
Well, Steve Wright's in the pits. I don't think the caution was him.
It was a red car. I did see a red car go around. I couldn't tell you which one it was.
All right, well, we'll use our backstretch cam. We'll figure out who it was, and then we'll get into some more detail here. But one car, Jeff Clifton.
Looks like he nosed it into that concrete barrier pretty good
And
there. That
he
could
has-
be significant engine damage.
He has taken it behind the wall for the evening here, which may become more clear to us here as we watch the replay.
Yeah, just the angle we got, it looks like he absolutely hammered the wall. We'll take a look. So
Loose.
coming out of the corner, he just gets loose
Oof.
and right into front bumper, probably puncturing
So-
the radiator, I'd have to imagine. And
So we have
away he went.
an estimation in chat, Andre, that we're at 30. So we remember we did reset our overlays at 13 cautions. So whatever this race recap graphic is, add 13 to it, and that is our actual total. So it'd be 27.
27 cautions on the night
And
so far.
let's
Lap
pull up
292.
now. So we'll do 2 rounds of guessing here. In chat, we have a big audience. How many laps has Carter Russo led? At the end of this lap, assuming his connection's still here, I'll pull up the graphic. And as well, Andre, this one's for you. What time in sim is it right now?
Was the sim time doubled?
I believe so. Oh, yeah, yes, it was. So
Okay, so then in sim, it's probably about 7:45.
survey says
Wow. Okay, no, it's not doubled. There's no way that's doubled because it was 5 o'clock
somewhere.
long ago. It's 5 o'clock somewhere. Pour me something
right.
tall and strong after this, let me tell you.
Yeah, no. Now chat is disappointing me because nobody is guessing, but I'm gonna throw a number out there. No, I'm not. I'm not guessing. I've already.
Now, you already won. Just take
Yeah.
the win and walk away.
Yeah, as you said, I'm gonna go out on top with my like as you said, you're gonna go out on top with your 1600 strength of field win. I'm gonna go out on top with my one good perfect guess. So I am not guessing Carter Russo's laps, but once we get a guess in chat, or if you guess, Andre, we'll solve that puzzle.
I don't remember when you made your guess. I'm going to say it's probably up to 234.
I think it was like around lap like 210. I think it was like 50-ish laps that he hadn't led.
Okay, so yeah, I'll say he's led probably about 229.
All right, we'll go on the backstretch. Van meter 250-ish is not a number. That's a range. That's cheating.
Yeah, I'll say 229. I mean, it's probably more now that I think about it, but I'll stick to it because I said it.
All right, survey says. All right, Price is Right style. You
236.
double showcased, so. And Van meter well went over, so no prizes
Damn
for
it!
you.
I should have stuck. I said 230. What did I say first? 231. That'd have been even closer.
But either way, that guessing game aside, let's get back to another restart, and let's see if he gets another one of the fabulous restarts. And from that shot, you can certainly see yes. As we'll go up from our top-down cam, our spotter cam, and you can see the lights are on here at the Nashville Fairgrounds Speedway. I almost said Super Speedway, but that is not the situation in the slightest. Oliver Cordell gets that second spot. Now, Tyler Muller, we haven't talked about him and this track position in quite some time. He started 12th, he was up to the front, and then just through the hurricane of the field was dropped back as into the fence is Cordell. That's going to slow him up enough to never mind.
Oh boy, caution again.
Oh, we got a parking lot.
Oh my goodness.
Michael
Calamity.
Whiting, that's the 188 of Carson Lucas, and then the 13 of Zach Coyer. Oh, so the 13 was already around. Oh, my gracious.
88.
85 as
Kind of a
well,
ping
kind of
pong
T-bone
ball.
someone. We'll get a different look. Oh, yeah, the 13 was in a precarious position here. Little contact through Whiting up the track. 67 into the 13. It was into the 44. And
There was 7 or 8 cars that got contact and all that.
on board here with the 85 of Craig Schmidt. 11 laps down in 22nd.
So he's just trying to make laps here. He's just trying to get to the end, and then, I mean, where do you go? There's just nowhere to go right there except straight through. And
I mean, probably could have slowed down a little bit earlier, but I'm not trying to be the mean guy in the mix.
Look, we don't lift in this house, all right? We go full send. All right? Even if you're 22 laps down, you know, The other pedals, look, the only pedal that matters is the one on the right. The other ones are optional. So, he's trying to...
Well, if you like gas pedals, and that is your favorite thing, then you'll want to sign up for our PTR TV 1,000 subscriber showdown, which will feature the Mazda MX-5s at the Nashville Super Speedway, which will give you the ability to go pedal to the metal for about 98% of the lap. So go check out our Facebook and fill out that entry form. If you're interested in joining the American Sim Racing Series, you can head to AmericanSimRacing.com and fill out the entry form. Nothing going on at present. We do have the Brickyard, the Battle at the Brickyard Gen 4 race that is in December, and then you can stay tuned for the Tweedcast Cup Series. The Tweedcast Truck Series in that'll be in like February or so. So a lot of good things here within the American Sim Racing Sanction, which is putting on this event. And thanks to them, as well as Tweedcast, which is a website creation company, which has done a lot for the series. So somehow I spun all of that into some big sponsor read. So kudos for that. But thought we were on one to go, but we are not. Still have, through all this haymakerness, if such a word does not exist, 17 guys still on the lead lap as we're finally in the final 100.
Yeah, we are under 100 to go. We are in the fourth quarter of the race, I suppose. Final portion, and the 21 is going to be the control car once again. Oliver Cordell, who looked to be making a move when the caution came out. He's going to be on the outside. Sun slowly starting to set.
Some fighting words in the Discord, which I will not make public, but the one is in a laughing way, not too happy with his race and asking for changes next year. So we'll see what happens, but either way, I'd be upset too if I was out of the race before the checkered flag. But we'll try it for the upteenth time. That is going to be Russo with the jump. They still haven't figured out how to time that right. He's been getting that 2-3 car length jump, and there's Cordell with second. And oh gosh, we got carnage here, and
yeah, they're gone. They're going upside down. Oh my good gracious, that was the field. That was the whole field.
Noah Carter involved, but that was the big one. Not quite to the level that we saw on Wednesday night, because that was actually hilarious, but not quite hilarious. Oh, somebody airborne there. We'll go from our spot. Let's see if our spotter cam will do this one. Oh yeah, somebody hard in the fence there. That was super hard damage from one of those black cars that I couldn't quite make out. But that is some pretty hard damage here, and I'm gonna relay this to the video game Wreckfest, where you start the race with 100% health, and then as you keep getting damage done to you, your percentage goes down until eventually 0, where your car just dies. If we were to relate this to that scale of damage, how many of these guys have damage that is like less than 10% at this juncture?
Probably quite a few of them. These late models can really take a beating, and I know we've talked about that in some of the other broadcasts that we've done this week. We've seen some incidents that really in any other stock car on the iRacing service probably would have been a DNF, and with these cars you just keep on trucking. So
or carring, I guess.
Yeah, you keep on going, and we've had a lot of cars involved in a lot of incidents tonight, and they're worse for wear. They're beat up, but they continue on, which is definitely making things interesting. We'll put it that way, because generally, with a race like this, with a field size this big, we would expect to see quite a bit of attrition. But really, we only have 5 cars out of the event, despite all the cautions we've had. So the field size stays big, which keeps the opportunity for chaos and for incidents relatively high, and that's just kind of a result of the iRacing damage model here on the late model car. But I know there are changes coming. We're getting the oval rework for pretty much all things oval, including damage models, and I know
the first pass of it is going to be essentially the dynamic track, which for those who have been elder iRacing members, circa what was it? It was it was season 4 builds. No, season 1 2020. So anything basically from 2019 backwards. You had phenomenal racing, multi-groove. What went into the track directly affected the grip. Once the new tire bottle came out, we lost that. We basically have had single file tracks for the most part for the last 4 years. So allegedly in this December build, they have reworked it so that the dynamic track system, the heat into the track, which affects the grip in the lanes, will be to a better state. Which is, like I said, I almost kind of wish that there was some hurricane that delayed this race till next month to where we could have utilized that. Maybe that would have absolved some of the wrecks as well with some more multi-groove racing. But that'll make for maybe a better show in 2024 in the 27th edition. With the green flag back in the air, Russo for his 75th restart of the race. Kissing the fence there is Oliver Cordell. But he'll retain the second spot. Third place battle. Dalton Collins has worked his way up through the field, as well as Tyler Muller.
It's taken Dalton a little while, but he has found himself back on the podium, so we'll see what he can do when it comes to the likes of the 17 and the 21, who have really shown themselves to be class of the field so far tonight. Behind him, Tyler Mueller in the 78, Lane Holzer in the 90, Michael White and Carson Lucas, who was involved in an incident earlier. I guess that applies to everybody in the field, but recently involved in an incident. He's inside the top 10. Zach Coyer in the 13. Pretty much everybody in the top 10 has been involved in something or another, but that car is definitely beat up front and back. I'd have to imagine the aero is not ideal. You can see the 13 getting a little bit more corner speed, probably a result of having slightly less damage. Again, I don't know what his Wreckfest damage percentage would be, but we've had an overtake for second place. Dalton Collins sliding up the pylon now. He's got a sight set on Carter Russo, trying to take away what the timing and scoring thinks is a win for Carter, and see if he can't get out front as we ride on board with third place car. You can see just how much off throttle time there is, down to 96 miles an hour in the corner, and then revving up to about 130 on the straightaways. Again, that's pretty good corner speed at the result of having this banking. But that 95 has closed into our leader. Here's a battle. The 67 maybe looking low, setting himself up for an overtake, and
AJ Cruz has he is the slowest car on circuit, which would indicate that some follies have occurred in his direction. He got loose, oil on the track. I don't know, that got loose. The way he got loose was not in the same way that other drivers have got loose, where it was kind of a sudden loss. He kind of power slid it through the corner, or so it appeared.
Well, Corey, I think one of the admins may have accidentally moved you. You were up in general for a minute. I pulled you back, but I do need your feedback up. In the meantime, my goodness.
Oh yeah, that was weird. But either way, I'm glad that all is still well. Hopefully.
Yep, we got the feedback up. We are back under yellow, but well, we tried. We thought we were going to get a green flag run in there, but unfortunately, chaos struck. A very busy pit road. We can see the 10, 24 on the others.
67. So, I mean, this could be, at this juncture, they did pit not too long ago, but actually, for some reason, so it's been a very long time since the overlays we've done a race this long, and my stint graphics not working. For some reason, my back-end overlays think the race is over, which makes no sense. So I'm losing some data that I normally would have. Luckily, it's still functioning enough to let us continue on with this show, but I don't have any stint graphics, Andre, so we're just going to have to kind of do the old Guesserooski and memory in that capacity. But you can see now the lights are on fully. There is kind of a lighting delay. The lights come on, but it doesn't actually look lit up till about a half hour later, which that half hour has elapsed. So now we are under the lights here at the Nashville Fairgrounds Speedway, which I wasn't expecting, but lights are pretty, so why not? Look at all the marbles down there to the inside of the track. I wonder if that's causing any, the excessive marbles here. We don't have any Mr. Clean sweeper trucks here, so I wonder if that's kind of causing to a little bit of the looseness we've been seeing.
Yeah, that could be. I think a lot of it is the bumps on the racing surface and just the suspension of these cars, but the marbles may also be a factor as to why the overtaking is so tough up top. Nobody really wants to migrate away from that bottom lane, and it could just be the car gets too slick, not very comfortable to drive up there. But yes, the lights have come on. We've got that cotton candy gradient in the sky that signifies night is and we're going to be finishing this thing out here under the lights, which is going to be kind of unexpected. Like you said there, Corey, we really thought we were going to be doing this race under daylight, but it's been quite the eventful night. Things have stretched on a little bit further than what we may have predicted. With the 95 on the outside, we are back to double wide restarts. And tell you what, that 95, how many times tonight has he restarted?
Well, how many times has that 21 lost connection here? And this is not the best time to have connection issues on a restart. If you cross the stripe, not in the iRacing world, it a lot of times throws you a lap behind. So this is tough calls for all involved, but it'll get back in solidity here for the green flag. He'll get his standard jump. Dalton Collins in second. Collins will clear and remain in front of the 17. Not a good exit there for Russo off of 2. That pulls the 95 directly to the back bumper. He's going to wrap the inside, side by side, nearly for the lead. Couldn't quite get the mustard through 3 and 4.
Man, it really looked like he might have the momentum, but it just stalled out right there, and Carter Russo is going to lead another lap. This man has been the king of defense. I mean, nobody has got around him once he's taken the lead, no matter how fast they are. The 95, you know, all the iRating in the world, not a position to buy. Oh, a little bit sideways, but we're good.
Yeah, I saw some car back of the shop there have a little issue and get loosey-goosey, but luckily was able to retain control of the vehicle, keep us here racing. Lap 322 coming to 323. 21 is not getting off the corners very well. He's getting really free. 95 right to the back deck lid and getting himself loose in the process.
Oh. He was getting aggressive. I think he was trying to take the air off the spoiler of that car ahead, and unfortunately for him, it kind of had the reverse effect. The front end of his car got light, which kicked him around sideways, almost opened up the door of the 17 to pass him by. Luckily, he was able to keep on second place there. 17 falls into line. Behind him, Tyler Mueller, Lane Holzer, not out of reach. Still battling for the lead, though. The 95 lost that time, gained it all back. Now down into turn 1. I think it's going to have to come down to moving him. The problem with that is you don't want to move a guy until it's too late for him to retaliate. If you're going to move him for the win, it's got to be in the last corner. You don't want to play your cards too early. So the 95, at this point, may be at the mercy of waiting for a mistake. But I've not seen Carter make too many mistakes tonight, so he could be waiting a while. The 67 on the outside here. Oh! He's been involved in some scuffles, and the other one is the 83. Ducking and diving down to the bottom of the track, just barely avoiding contact. Great heads up by the 83 and Noah Carter. I cannot believe he saw that coming and was able to react to that without getting that car loose. But now the 13 going to get a little bit sideways, which opens the 67 up to a potential overtake. And oh man, these guys are racing like it's the last lap, but we are finally starting to click off some green flag laps. One car down on the apron, that's the 61 coming out of pit road.
Oh, wiggle! Wall for Russo!
And that is going to give it to the
and he's around! Bad to worse for the 21 car. Led however many laps, but he's going to be back to 7th, 8th spot here, the way it's all going to shuffle out.
That's the kind of hit that ended Kurt Busch's career. So he got underneath them right here, forced him into an uncomfortable lane, maybe a little bit of net
he got loose on. I think he got loose on his own, and then the kind of the elephant on a skateboard result. He couldn't get it straightened, and then Cordell kind of just finished him off. We'll go on board here with the 17 because I do want to get that perspective.
Trying to get back down in line, but the 17 was already there. I can't really put that on the 17 at all. So we're right on board, going down into the corner. It's going to happen right here. A little bit sideways, so yeah, he was already sideways before anything ever happened. There was no net code, no contact, and then 17 gets down.
21 didn't really give him a lot of space there. And I originally kind of put more of that on the I put more of that on the 21 rather the 17, but now on that second look, I put more of it on Carson there, of just Carter rather. I keep getting him confused, of not giving the 17 enough space. As you said, he was already there.
Yeah, he was trying to get back in line, which, I mean, he had to do. He doesn't want to be freight trained on the outside, but unfortunately, it was just a little bit too late, and there was some contact made. So the 17 looks like he may have been given an EOL. He is falling back.
Well, remember our system of all me.
All me, yeah.
So did he take heed to that caution, or was he administratively given heed to that caution? What is up with the left front of that machine? It looked very, I mean, I know there's damage, but that looked rather askew.
Yeah. Yeah, it looks about the same as it's looked all night, but still letting cars
it just looks,
go
yeah,
by.
the left front is just dragging, essentially. I think that's why I'm comparative to the right front. I've never seen damage of that complexity, so I guess kudos to iRacing in that capacity, but he's going to remain on circuit, which there are 15 cars on the lead lap, and he's back to 11, so, I mean, I would pit and just take tires at this point. I would imagine most guys still have some tires on the wall. We really have no way to follow that at this point, but just based on how many pit stops we've seen, most of these guys have pit, you know, maybe 3-4 times at most, so I would have taken the Dr. Feelgood's, maybe got 30 seconds of damage fixed, but let's go take a look. Remember, this graphic for our caution count is going to be whatever this number is plus 13 is our number of cautions, so 31 cautions here on the evening.
That is quite a bit, but again, it's a big event and a very big field to start this race, so you expect drivers to be pretty aggressive, and that's definitely what we've seen. Let's go off on the pace truck. We are going to be doubling them up here, so the 95 finally able to see the inside of row 1 for a restart. He's been on the outside about 12.5 times, and now he's going to be the control car, so that's a scary thing for the rest of the field, because that 95 has been fast. Now he's going to be fast with clean air, so just a double whammy there, as Tyler Mueller is going to try to fight back on the high side. 90 in the 77, Benny Hogan. I know earlier in chat somebody was mentioning that Benny's a bit of a wild card. He could make something happen. Well, he's up into the podium here on the outside. He's going to try to fight for third on the outside of the 90. Looks like he may carry the momentum. He's going to get it.
Yes, he is. And out to the inside, 78 took a look, and I think that look kind of scared Dalton Collins there, because it kind of washed him up the track in 3, but not enough to lose the position. You could see them all running that second lane, Andre. Nobody's really yellow wrapping anymore. Everyone's kind of washing up to that second lane. I think the dynamics of the sim, just as I say that, maybe 3 and 4 is a little bit better down there on that yellow line, but that 78 showing some speed, showing a run, showing a look to the inside. No! Save it! Oh, come on.
Almost traction rolls there.
I'm not trying to show, but I'm really trying to take emotion out of it, and I don't want to be biased. I want this race to play out, but I don't know, man.
Yeah, that was rough. That was rough. And the traction roll there at the end, kind of insult to injury. The 95, I mean, he had fought so hard all night to get out front, and we'll take a look at what happened again here. But, you know, again, I think it's just they're racing so aggressive. The 95 was trying to pinch down. Yeah. I can't necessarily put that on the 78.
This is the point of contact right here. So I guess the $1 million question is, should Collins have given him more room, or did the 78 have enough to have that be his corner? Which I guess at this point in the race, we're less than 100 to go. You're gonna make those choices, but I mean, the question as a racer and as an admin still ultimately remains.
I mean, just my opinion. Like I said, I think the 95 came down a little bit too much. You know, he was on the outside. He was not clear of the 78. And I know that, you know, in road racing, generally you have to be fully alongside to claim the corner as yours. But here in oval racing, things are different. Look, if the guy's underneath you, whether it's an inch or the whole car, he's down there. and he has no responsibility to open that lane up to you, to let off the throttle so that you can move down. He might, if he wants to play nice, he might let off the throttle and not be aggressive with it, but there is no rule in the book that's telling him he's got to do that. So you kind of have to expect in a lot of cases, look, if I got moved up a line and I'm on the middle groove, then I have to dedicate myself to that middle groove. I got to see what I can do and just try to power out of the corner and fight back that way. But making a bit of a reactionary late block like that generally doesn't end well. But the thing is, man, for the 95, I know that sounds like I put a lot of that on him. But you got to understand, we have been here since 7:30. Okay,
if you're watching this live, yeah, so 3 hours elapsed.
30 cautions. So these drivers are probably a little bit frazzled. They're probably not thinking very clear.
Tired. They're frustrated.
Yeah. So look, if I'm the 95, I hate to say it, I'm doing the same thing. I'm going to try to get down to the bottom groove, and if there's not room there, then I guess I'm spinning around. Then, it's a tough situation.
And then I guess let's just play full transparency, Andre. Us as commentators, we like to see, close racing. We know that's going to bring cautions, and we, kind of absolve incidents here and there. But we do try our best to not let our emotion of, oh my God, there's another caution. But if it does slip out, we are still people at the end of the day. We're still here for 3 hours as well. So if we start to get a little, there's another caution, we're trying, but we are also humans as well.
Very fatigued humans. I know you were door dashing earlier today, Corey. I was getting up early to race tiny little cars out in town there, and spent the majority of the day doing that, and then came home for some pixel car racing. But I'm still having fun. Like, it's been a long night. Cautions are always frustrating, of course, but it's been a fun race, and I definitely have had fun.
And thanks to our chat,
Yeah, you guys have been awesome in chat, and hopefully your favorite driver has somewhat survived the calamity, and
somewhat.
They're doing pretty well. But I don't think anybody's fully survived it, at least not yet. But the 78, it's going to be the control car, Tyler Mueller in control of the field. And on the outside, Benny Hogan, looks like he's going to get a solid jump here. That may put him up into second place. He's on the higher groove here. Don't think he's got room to drop down yet. There it is. He's clear. So Benny Hogan, the dark horse pick that they were talking about in chat earlier, second place on the pylon. And the number 90 Lane Holzer in third. And then we got Madeline all over the place back here. Yeah, Young was in a couple of spins, and now he's fighting for fourth here. Doing a good job on the bottom.
No, there we go again.
Loose. Oh, okay. Yep.
So Andre just kind of, after exactly what I just said, we try not to let our emotions get into us when there's another caution. I think Andre has slightly lost it there, but another one, in the words of DJ Khaled.
Well, we can rack them and stack them again. Man, it was a hard hit there.
And no safer barriers. From a real life perspective, no safer barriers here at Nashville, which is part of the things that they would have to do to get this place NASCAR worthy. They would have to wrap it in safer barriers. They would have to potentially repave it, put some soundproof, sound deadening wall, concrete wavy things on the back straightaway. I think there's actually a billboard here somewhere. Perhaps we'll find it on the back straightaway. It says NASCAR to Nashville. Because ironically, they do have the championship celebration banquet type deal. They do have it here at Nashville.
That's right. That is, yeah.
All right, here it comes from our drone cam. Come on. NASCAR to Nashville. There it is. They're trying, but it's actually kind of funny on Twitter, or I guess X as it's now deemed, which I thought that was a meme, but that actually is the new going forth name. You'll hear the county officials and town people that live there. I can't think of the word for that right now. My brain is fried. The excuses they try to come up with as to why there doesn't need to be NASCAR Cup racing here, and they said there's already an F1 track near here. Why do they need another one?
Yeah, F1. Mm-hmm. Yeah,
because you get imagine Lewis Hamilton, whipping it around, and Max Verstappen whipping it around Nashville. I think would you turn about an 8-second lap time around here?
I think we used to do that, and it was just called the Kart Series. So,
Oh yeah.
yeah, I can imagine it. I can imagine it.
The closed course world record is actually at Fontana, and that will no longer ever be beaten because Fontana is now dirt, well, largely dirt.
Yeah, don't remind me. That's
Gilles
pretty
de
sad.
Ferran
But hey,
set that lap in the year 2000. Useless facts that I looked up, so you don't have to. And I actually said that the other day on our Thursday night broadcast. I said, they did the math, so you didn't have to. You know who said that originally? That was Bill Weber's adage during the pre-race NBC shows back in like the 05, 07 era when he was on the pit box. He said, I did the math, so you didn't have to. Just, again,
good old Bill Weber.
useless little sprinkles onto the race Sunday there.
Indeed, and yeah, going back to the Auto Club thing, very disappointing. But with that lap being set in 2000, maybe the Matrix was right. In the movie where they say, 1999, 2000, it was the pinnacle of humanity. Well, we may never go faster than the year 2000. In the meantime, lights are off on the pace car, and it is going to be Tyler Mueller doing it again with Benny Hogan now on the outside. He picked up one position on that restart. So he finds himself on the front row for the first time on a restart. These drivers wiggling back and forth, maybe not so much to warm up the tires, but to wake themselves up after all this pacing. Get themselves energized here, ready to go for the last 50 laps of the event. If we stay green, these 50 laps are going to go by.
Oh, no. That's the field. How? One of us has to talk under it. That's what we get paid for.
Yeah, that's the field. We'll take a look at a replay from the fans' perspective. Somebody had their camcorder out. Remember camcorders? Those sort of things. For phones. 45 car just about activating the hydraulics there with a bit of a traction roll. And unfortunately, Alan Young getting a bit of a hit to the driver's side wall and maybe taking a tow there. Yeah, well, he took the tow. His pit stall was right there, so convenient. 44 involved, the 10, the 17.
Poor Barney, too. Barney was right in the way of that.
Yeah, Barney.
Well, I guess he got a bird's eye view of it.
Barney might need a tetanus shot because there's probably some scrap metal that got up there into the flag stand. This will be a good angle of it. Right here, our flag man. Absolute calamity that the 49 just getting the worst of it. Unfortunately,
the drone
17,
did the best view there for us, and I feel like Andre, I gotta be honest, I am a balloon with very little air in it left right now, so I need some air.
Yeah, I'm right there with you. I should have maybe drank more coffee prior to this one. So there's a fun fact about racing, and that is there is not a portal on the backstretch that leads to the checkered flag. You actually have to get there organically through completing the laps.
We haven't found the space-time equation.
No,
so what is this, 34?
Yeah. So I mean, it was just probably more valuable just to get to the checkered flag and not, race into turn one. But either way, these drivers, I don't think there's a car in the field that's not dented. It's kind of astounding in a way, but the 78, Tyler Mueller, may be liking the fact that we're burning some laps here because that 77 was looking pretty strong. He did make the pass on the outside for second place, and he was actually kind of closing in there for the short time we were under green. He was closing in on Mueller. So definitely has a chance if we were to get some green flag racing. Dalton Collins, look at that, buddy. Dalton Collins, he was in that incident, got spun around there, back inside the top 5. So, I mean, if I was a betting man, which I am not, I'm not Phil Mickelson, I wouldn't be able to place a bet on this race because I literally could not pick a name out of this field right now that I feel confident in to win, simply because it's gone back and forth so much. I mean, 5 minutes ago I said Dalton Collins is out of this race, and now he's back inside the top 5. So this man trying to stage a comeback, he's got a wounded horse, but so does everybody else, so it equalizes.
And we're getting in chat, how close are we to 50 cautions? The mathematics, and we can say this with relative certainty. The mathematics would probably not let us get more than like 42 cautions, I think. We're at 34 right now. We do have green-white checkers. I don't remember how many of them offhand, but at least one, I'd imagine so. But we don't want to think of that. We're at 34 now. 34 is going to be the final total. I have 0% confidence, but I'll say it for optimism's sake. Barney has the flag. He saw a big one. Looks like he's going to be able to see them drive underneath normally this time by, heading off into turn number 1. We saw some...
Oh, Benny.
Saw some stuff there, Andre. Fill in some words for me.
Yeah, Benny Hogan, he got loose on one of the bumps, had to go up the track a little bit. He caught the car, but he did give up some track position in doing so, so he's going to drop from 2nd back to 4th. And in the solo lead, Tyler Mueller is about...
there we go.
Okay. And
35. Oh,
no,
ARCA brakes.
Oh, boy. Well, take a look at the PTR TV replay. Thank goodness that we're not on physical film anymore, and just going back and looking at all these replays, we would have worn the film out by now. But the 77 just gets a bit of a nudge and into that not so safer barrier, as I call it, the deadlier barrier. And that's going to be a lot of damage for him, but he will continue on, it seems. He's going to stick with it on the track here and pull up behind that number 10, who himself is looking a little bit beat up. But lap 357 coming to 400. We're going to throw it to a short break, I believe, and we'll go side by side and be back for the drop the green.
Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head to head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series in officially licensed cars engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer.
And we're back here on PTR TV for the All Caution American 400 here at the Nashville Fairgrounds Speedway, the 26th annual running. And let's just say I don't think this went as planned, but we still have a 40-lap finish and absolutely no idea of what's going to happen for the race win. Dalton Collins has worked his way through, I think via strategy, to get up to the front of the field here, to side-by-side into one with Tyler Muller in the 78. Let's see if we can get a lap in.
And, you know, he's actually going to make the move. It looks like, well, he was going to try to make a move, but he now concedes the position. The 78 is going to get it, but it might be a crossover down to the bottom. He's looking for the overtake.
Oh, he sent him. He sent him. That was it. That was retaliation.
retaliation for...
Well, in his eyes, retaliation for the incident earlier.
I get you. BTR TV instant replay. We call this full send down into turn 1, 95.
In his eyes, he got... the prior incident was not his fault. In his eyes, and I'm not, you know, fighting the cause on that, but in his eyes, it was not his fault, and he was getting his comeback off that. So whether admin lets him continue or whether he continues on his own...
Yeah, I don't think the admin let him get away with that one. He's parked on the backstretch, so...
Oh, he's going.
Yeah, he's going, but those are the lap down cars behind him, so he got an EOL. I believe the rule of thumb here for tonight is that
He gone.
Oh no, he's really gone. But in general, despite what we just saw there, the rule has been spin or spinny. So if you get into somebody, even if you yourself didn't wreck, if you got into them, generally they're going to hand you an EOL. And I think the 95 was given more than an EOL. He was given a GHN, go home now.
Hit the road, Jack, and don't you come back. No more, no more, no more, no more. I've already pushed the copyright infringement to the roof here for this broadcast, so may as well top it off.
Colton Rutherford says, cleanest moves I've seen. We're going to give that the Mr. Clean award. You remember that when they used to give that out in the Cup Series?
Has anybody in this race done something good, Andre? Because I want to give the Ricky Rudd award out, but I don't. Should I just give it to somebody random at this point? I just want to give it to somebody.
I would give it to Kyle Goodbout. I'm not even, like, for real. That 360 and keeping the car down low so that it didn't go up into traffic was probably the most impressive thing I've seen all week.
But he's not in the race right now.
No,
so
but, I mean, you know.
We're going to give it to... I'm just going to give it to Carter because he's led a lot of laps, so... The Ricky Rudd move of the race. Save of the race.
How did you save that car? Well, I'm just so daggone good.
Well, he is daggum good because he's led a number of laps that neither of us remember at this point, but is a very large number. I'm going to say 220. No, I'm not saying anything. I already guessed perfect. I'm not guessing at all.
Yeah, I'm not going to guess either.
Should we, as the chat, form a coupe against the racing standards?
A coup. I would say no. We don't want any uprisings. You know, look, what we can do is we can all vow to race clean from here on out. And, you know, just...
Next person who wrecks owes everybody in the booth, admin, and chat a junior bacon cheeseburger. That's just... They cannot afford that. Therefore, that will make everyone race clean.
Yeah, those junior bacon cheeseburgers are getting pretty expensive. But you know what? I'll take it. As long as I get like a small coffee to go. Honestly, I care more about the coffee than the burger. In fact, yeah, next person that wrecks owes me a coffee. They can forego the burger. That's fine. But in the meantime, we're getting ready to go back green.
There's a green car that was just kissing the wall down the straightaway under caution, so... I don't know, do I want to... I almost want another caution because I want my junior bacon cheeseburger at this point. But John Cannizzaro leading for the first time tonight. He's going to take the green flag. And the 188 of Carson Lucas, he's been involved. He's been in the ringer 10 times and back. But then again, who has it? I mean, look at that front row. It's just crazy to think one of these cars is going to win this race looking the way they do. 17 in the wall getting down the straightaway.
Yeah, the 17 has made good acquaintance with that outside wall so far today. But it hasn't stopped him yet. He's going to continue on. Third place currently, trying to take second around the outside. Number 17 carrying good center speed and good exit speed, but it may not be quite enough, at least not yet, to get up into space from Carson Lucas. John Cannizzaro still leading the race. And a little bit squirrely, but we are still good to go. Lap 370 out of 400. The 17 doing everything he can on that outside line. He is not giving up. Now this is a good battle right here, ladies and gentlemen. This is racing.
Oh, no.
17.
Keep off.
Got in. And Evan Hassler cutting him a break. He's still loose, but good move there by the 38. He got out of the loud pedal and caution.
We're at that point in the race, folks.
So, who owes me the coffee? let's dial up the replay.
I mean,
see
if I'm being bluntly honest, I was paying minimal attention there, so I really don't even know what happened. But, oh, 77. Benny, do we need the Hill theme song?
So Benny owes me the coffee. I'm not asking for much, just a small black coffee.
All right, so was that by himself, or was that instigated? I have to go to the rear deck lid cam to find out.
I think that was a bump. I like a bump on the track. I don't think he got a bump from anybody behind him.
Well, he didn't get bucked up from the car behind him. He got bucked up himself.
He had a bump on the track and got sideways. We've seen it a few times. This track has been pretty difficult for these drivers. Mitch Brown wants to know, what's the caution counter at now? Well, whatever we pull up, add 13 to that. Because our stats did reset at 13. So let's see if we can
I'm
pull
just
that
making a...
and a coffee.
That's too big for the text box there, but so whatever this number is, remember back 7 hours ago we had to reset the overlays. So whatever this number is, as Andre said, add 13 to it. 37 caution. So someone said, well, we hit 50. We won't hit 50, but we might hit 40.
Fully possible. Lights are still on the pace car. So
Marissa in chat, we understand.
We do. We absolutely do. And fully sympathies, absolutely. Lights are still on the pace car. We're going to go side by side for just a moment. We will be back for yet another drop of the green, and hopefully the flagman's arm does not fall off.
All right, so we're actually on lap 377 now. Our side-by-side ticker is 7 laps back for some inexplicable reason. This race has just broken the overlays, but we're back green flag racing here, and let's see what happens as we push 20 laps to go.
Yeah, it is going to be just a few laps remaining. 100 Cup Series joining us in chat. Let's fight that good fight, boys, and I got a chuckle out of that. But John Canizaro is still leading the way, second place. Carson Lucas, I know there has been some Carson Lucas fans in chat all night long, and well, things may be looking up, at least for the moment. If you are a fan of that 188, 17 machine Oliver Cordell, starting to pull away a little bit from Hassler back there in the 38, and again, Hassler, probably one of the more respectful drivers of the night. I've seen him cut drivers a break numerous times, and we'll see if that patience and kindness starts to wane here in the last 20 laps. But it seems like the damage on that car may be holding him back just a little bit. The 83 looking hungry on the bumper. That is Noah Carter, who also, again, had some fans in chat. He's going to move down to the bottom lane. It's not going to be enough momentum, at least not yet. Is he going to get there? No, sir. He took a shallow entry. He's going to push up. That's going to cost him a little bit of time here on the back straightaway, but he's going to still keep within lunging distance. And again, I think a lot of that coming back to the damage there.
Look at where we are finally. This race is in its waning stages. We are within 20 laps to go in this day-long affair here at the Nashville Fairgrounds Speedway for the 26th annual online All-American 400. It's it's been a thing. We've seen Carter Russo lead the majority of the race, but it's kind of like I guess the best way to describe this race, Andre, is when you're in 3rd place through 12th place in a Mario Kart match, basically you cannot evade a turtle shell. You cannot evade a bomb. You cannot evade anything. When you're in the middle, you cannot succeed. And that's where he is now. But unfortunately for the 188 Carson Lucas, he has evaded that. He's up front where it's a little bit harder to get hit, but still likely possible. But Oliver Cordell, the way he has persevered today with all that damage, with all the wrecks, with going back to front, he is my wheelman of the race, and just proved by getting loose there.
Yeah, he's driving that thing hard. He's trying everything he can to get around the 188. It's going to be 15 to go at the line, but he may be overdriving. As you see him get a little bit squirrely out of the corner, that costs him about half a car length going into the corner. What's not right?
So again, for some reason, the lap times, so a lot of, we're kind of on like, right now when it comes to the overlays, it's like a plane when it basically only has like the bare minimum functional features. That's kind of where we're at right now. But looking to the outside, this is not something you see every day. He's going to take some trust in Carson Lucas to make sure he doesn't slide up, and he can't slide himself. Right rear quarter panel, he has the run. He's going to have to fall back and let him. Might be able to run down the hill for a shot down the back straightaway. Doesn't quite have the mojo for it.
He is doing everything he can. You can see he's using up the entire track, bottom to top, trying to get around Carson Lucas for the lead. Meanwhile, we are battling for position a little bit further back. This pack of cars spearheaded by that 38 machine there. Evan Hassler behind him too wide. The 90 gets a little bit loose, gives up the position. And for the lead, the 17 is going to slip on by. What does the 88 do in response? What can he do? Maybe not a whole lot going down into the corner. Take a look at the pass for the lead on the BTR TV replay. We caught the tail end of it, but here's how it began. Coming out of the corner, he got a good run down the straightaway and then just dove down to the bottom and said, hey, I'm not going to leave this lane open for you. So it was a quick pass for the lead. And I think the 188 just missed his marks a little bit, but he's not done yet. Dooring each other through the corner. Carson Lucas takes it back by force with 10 to go.
Rip the Band-Aid off. I think we're going at it, Andre, and I don't know if that's in a good way. Look, a little bit of contact there, washes them back up the hill. If they could do this and not wreck, that's short track racing, so let's hope that's the case. He's going to get alongside. He's going to dive bomb his way. He's going to clear. 88 might have enough for a crossover because that was a big power move, but he managed to get a good run on exit. All the while, the 83 of Noah Carter closing back in here as we are within 10 laps to go finally.
Yeah, it is going to be 9 to go. Oliver Cordell, 8 to go now as Carson Lucas tries to reel in that 17. Noah Carter, through all of this battling, by the way, has caught them, so player 3 has entered the game, and he is trying to figure out a way around that 88, but so far unable to find it as these 3 cars have broken away from the pack. Evan Hassler, 1.7 seconds back. Not even a factor as the 17 gets loose. Is that going to be enough going down into the corner? He smells the blood in the water. Can he get to him? Puts the bumper. Not quite able to get there yet, but he's not giving up. These drivers so close in pace. It's been a long night. They're tired. They're irritated. And all they want is that checkered flag, and they're probably willing to do anything to get it. Here they come down into the corner again. That 88 carrying such good momentum. It makes you wonder how that 17 even got around him the way that he did. He's showing so much pace right now.
Yeah, he is definitely holding him up. Oliver got the lead, but I mean, maybe the 188 found something. Maybe he realized he had to cool the tires down, whatever it is. But now we're coming within 5 laps to go. So remember, there is a green-white checker available if necessary. But that little slide there, that's not going to help him out. And that's just going to get that 83 at him. And we know that 83, he's been sliding people up the track to make these passes here tonight. So he ain't going to be afraid to do it here with the metaphorical money on the line here coming to 3 laps to go.
Yeah, it is going to be an all-out battle here. The 88 lost a little bit of ground that lap. Got a little bit loose there. He was driving it really hard, but he does hook the bottom really good there. He got a good corner, so that closes him in at least a little bit. With Noah Carter trailing just a little bit further back, but as they come out of turn 4, it is going to be 2 to go. It is go or go home time for Carson Lucas if he wants the checkered flag after everything. that we have been through, everything we have seen, this hours-long event, he's going to have to make a crazy lunge because he falls a little bit further back through 1 and 2 once again. And this race looks to be in the hands of the 17. White flag in the air. The race is official. Next flag will end it. 88 closes in a little bit through turns 1 and 2, and it's going to have to be a bonsai move. He got to the bumper.
I don't know if he's going to do it. He's not close enough. Coming through 3 and 4, we're going to play it clean. That's the way it should happen. Coming off of 4, he won 2 races earlier in the week. He's going to win 3. He's going to win the big trifecta here. Oliver Cordell survives the melee and wins the 26th annual online All-American 400, the race that we thought would never end, the race that half the drivers probably thought they couldn't survive, but he managed to pull it off, and again, his 3rd win of the week here. So a very, very good 2024 Nashville week for Oliver Cordell, and I know he appreciates that Carson did not do the full send dive there, as probably thought he may based on what we've seen, but he's going to burn it down here on the front straightaway and savor in his victory.
Yeah, Carson Lucas drove more respectfully in the last corner of the race for the win than most drivers were racing all night long. So take a note out of his book. If you're going to be on iRacing and doing some races this week, maybe aspire to be more like Carson Lucas and his teammates. But 17, you might want to aspire to be like him as well, because he was fast all night long. Man, oh man, what a night it was for him. You mentioned the perseverance there. Corey had a lot of issues early on and just slowly clawed his way back up to the top, and now he's got a checkered flag to show for it. We do have the final race results. Oliver Cordell taking the win. Carson Lucas by a 10th in 2nd place. Noah Carter is going to be there in 3rd. Evan Hassler, P4. Carter Russo, 5th. Lane Holzer gets up to P6 before it was all said and done. Zach Coyer, up and down night, results in a top 10. They're in 7th place. John Canizaro goes from 1st to 8th in the last 20 laps. Michael Whiting going to be P9. Running out the top 10 is Benny Hogan after his late race incident.
All right, second page of results, we have Ryan Strunk in 11. Now, typically when we read the results, Andre, we always kind of mention who was involved in a wreck. I don't think we need to do that because everybody was. Travis Wright in 12th, Charles Roth in 13th, Mark Myers with a 14th, Craig Schmidt in 15th, rounding out our top 20, Tyler Muller, Alan Young, Caleb Ramsey. I don't know how he ran as long as he did. We thought he was out 200 laps ago. Steve Wright, and then AJ Cruz.
Outside of the top 20, Jeffrey Clifton, he got in that little bit of a spin, blew his engine, going to wind up 21st. James Pileski, probably the punching bag of the race. He got in a lot of incidents, unfortunately. P22. Matt Vade is going to be 23rd. Kyle Goodbout, man, he made a run at it, and he did some great driving tonight, but he only wound up 24th. Jonathan Holstein going to be P25. Chad Barker, P26, 27, Kelsey Rogers, 28, Zachary Honecker. Alex Bonsignor is going to be 29th, and 30th is going to be Glenn Stanley. And I believe there's 2 more on the list that actually started the race. Josh Cole, Kenneth Farmer, Jeff Dillon, and Dalton Collins in the 95.
Yeah, he must have been DQ'd to go back 400 laps. And,
yes.
And before we do the final interviews, Andre, final take on cautions, 50.
It was 50?
Or it was broken. I don't know, because we said it was the number plus 13.
I don't think we got to 50. I think we got in the mid-40s. If the guy who was keeping count is still in chat, let us know exactly what it was. But
all right, hold on. The iRacing results have posted. It was 37, so somehow the graphic is right again. I don't know. So 37 was the final number, but either way, let's stop yabbering and start talking to these guys who probably want to go to bed after this. So, Andre, I'll give you the benefit of our winner here.
Mr. Cordell, you got a copy?
Yeah, I got you.
Well, Oliver, it was a great fight back to the front. We saw you had that issue very early in this race, and we were thinking, yeah, that's probably it for the 17, but man, you just kind of clawed your way up through the field, and you got an amazing win. That battle at the end, that was so fun to watch. Tell me a little bit about what it was like behind the wheel.
Yeah, honestly, I thought I was done after that first wreck too, but I came in and only had 50 seconds worth of damage, so got that fixed, and then after that I was just a pinball machine to like the last 50 laps there. I was kind of able to hold my ground, and I saw Dalton get involved in a wreck, and then Parter getting involved in a wreck, and us three were the fastest cars all night. And I was just able to navigate my way through traffic and eventually get around Carson there. That was one hell of a race between me and him.
It really was. And, we were watching Carson there in your rearview mirror, and we were kind of thinking, is he going to make the lunge? Is he going to dive down into the corner? And he didn't. He played it respectful. He knew what his car's limits were, and he didn't put the bumper to you. So I would say that's pretty good, respectful racing. What do you think about his move there?
Yeah, for sure. We kind of had a scuffle earlier in like 10 to go maybe, and but after that, yeah, very respectful racing and some of the funnest racing I've had on here.
Yeah, definitely looked fun. Well, hey, congratulations on a win. Normally on the channel here, we've kind of just stopped asking the drivers if they want to shout anybody out, but I think you deserve to give some shout outs for sticking with it all night. So if you got anybody you want to thank for tonight's win, man, now's the time.
Honestly, man, it's just a one-man wrecking machine over here. I kind of just do this kind of deal by myself. Don't really have anybody else that runs with me on a regular basis. Just try to get on here and escape the reality of the tough world we live in these days.
Our friend of the channel, Adam Benefield, used to have a saying, I want to thank me for waking up so talented every day. Well, that's you right now, Oliver. You woke up talented and you got the checkered flag. So congratulations and thank you for your time, sir.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
All right, race winner.
I do find the irony in that, Andre, because the one time we offer shout-outs, he has done to...
Right? I mean, the one time.
All right, but we don't have second place here, because I don't know who Jay is in Discord, but we'll skip to third place, and maybe you can siphon and figure out who that other person is, Andre, but I'll go ahead and grab Noah here. All right, Noah, it was a royal slugfest. There's obviously no other way to say it than that, and you were up and down through the field, and you ended up getting on the podium at the end of the day. How'd that shake out for you?
Yeah. I was telling my spotter that was like the biggest roller coaster of my life. Was all over the boards almost the whole entire last 100 laps.
Yeah.
It's just really difficult to stay up there and not get wrecked. I mean, it seemed like everyone was wrecking everywhere in the field those last 100 laps. Was able to avoid it for the first 300, but that last 100 was crazy.
Yeah, I was relating it on the broadcast to being in the middle of the pack in a Mario Kart game because you couldn't get evade a turtle shell no matter where you did. But we saw the line you were running earlier, man. It kind of seemed like you might have been making a couple people mad with your line. You were kind of washing people up in the middle, maybe washing up second lane, trying to make those passes, and it definitely worked. But it seemed as though some guys didn't take too well to it. Did you have any issues with that passing maneuver that you were doing, or was that just really the best way to get around here?
Oh, no, that definitely was not intentional to run anybody up the racetrack. But, yeah, that was just how I found fastest to get around, especially near the end whenever I had damage that it did not stick anywhere except for low, middle, low.
Yeah, so, I mean, I think maybe there was one or two drivers that didn't take kindly to it, but all in all, I mean, I think everyone's mad at each other over something, man, but you get a solid podium run here in the Marathon 400 at Nashville. Any shout-outs you want to give?
Shout out my spotter and teammate, Zach Lovelace. He put together the scheme and spotted me throughout the race and helped me get through that massive marathon. And my team, Texas Speed Sim Racing, helping me get to where I am today, and my family and friends for watching.
Yeah, thanks again, man. And maybe we'll talk to you soon in a future race. Congrats.
Yeah, thank you.
I don't know if you solved the mystery on who our third person is, Andre.
No, I'm not entirely certain who that is. So it's up to you what you want to do. But
well, second place is not Jay, and there's no Jays in the top 10, so it might just be someone hanging around. I don't think it's Jim because I know Jim's Discord name. So we're gonna call it there, Andre. I think we deserve to after this this long of a race. Now I do have Jim here. I'm gonna grab him in here because he popped in. So Jim, I saw you in the waiting room, so I didn't know if that meant you wanted to have a final word. It is your event, the 26th race. Of course, it was maybe not the race you thought it was going to be, but still, when you do this 26 years in a row, you're doing something right.
Do we have to come back next year?
Well, clearly mentalities may be changing here, but...
Wow. You know... it started out, we had that early caution, we had a couple cautions, and then it went really good. And it was like, all right, cool, we got a nice long green flag run. I had the broadcast on my phone here in race control, and I mean, it was going pretty well. Then we had a rash of cautions, and I thought, all right, it's gonna calm down, and it never did.
The storm that never ended. But well, like I was saying on the broadcast, over the last what felt like 5 hours, we have the oval refresh. We might have a more dynamic track next year, which might spread these guys out. So if we do come back for year 27, I think the iRacing gods might make it a little easier for us. But any final thoughts between you or Andre before we wrap up this never-ending evening?
Well, we'll definitely be back for a 27th year next year. It's it's always a high tension race, being such a marquee event and a crown jewel here. So it's a big deal. Some emotions I think got a hold of some people on the track tonight, and they made a couple bad moves, and we took care of that. But that's stuff that can get talked about Monday morning, and we'll clear all that up and figure out where everybody stands for 2024 for the 27th edition. But Corey, when we did the contract on this race, I told you we'll be done in like 2.5 hours, no problem. It'll go real smooth. It'll be great. Yeah, I think.
I mean, I could send you an overtime bill, but maybe I think I'll be nice to you on that. Well, glad it was a great show, Jim. We had a great audience, so we got a lot of exposure. We got fans that stick with us. I want to thank Andre for sticking with me. Of course, like and subscribe, all that fun stuff. Sign up for our PTR 1000 on Facebook. Everyone who was in this race is eligible for it. That's Corey and Andre signing out of the booth, as well as Mr. Jim Foose himself. Have a great night, everyone, and we'll catch you next time.